Hello and welcome back to my channel What If Deku 2.0. Join us as we delve into the realms of fanfiction and fantasy, bringing you the best stories and discussions. Today we're kicking off part 11 of our series, What If Deku Became the Villain Emperor. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content in the future. The author of this story is DekuVerse from Archive of Our Own. All the relevant links are in the description. Feel free to say hello to the author on their profile. Now let's dive into the fanfic. Deku was sitting in the couch in the League of Villains headquarters with a smile on his face as he was preparing his little angel for today. She pretty much puppy eyes him into arranging her the chance to meet Recovery Girl personally. And he agreed instantly and wholeheartedly. It wasn't even an argument. Whatever Eri Shigaraki desires, she gets it. It wasn't even a debatable subject. Deku made sure to spoil her and Mahoro as well as Kota and Katsuma to lesser degree since they didn't ask for much rotten and give them everything they wanted. I am so excited. Thank you much, Papa. Eri said happily as her dad brushed her hair. She likes when he does that. Feels nice. Her papa was nice. Why the hell should I waste my time on some jackass hero school? I already do online schooling and hate heroes with my whole being. Doesn't make goddamn sense. Kota grumbled as Toga was doing his tie. The boy insisted if he was going to be dragged into U.A that he wears a mini-suit like his dad's. Because Eri-chan puppy-eyed the three of us to join her and Dad thinks it's a good idea for us to see that not all heroes are jerks. Katsuma shrugged as he adjusted his face mask. He insisted on wearing his own suit as well, much to their father's embarrassment. Nobody can overpower Eri-chan's cuteness. Nobody. Katsuma shrugged. Kota just groaned loudly and dramatically. One downside of having an angel as a sister, I guess. But whatever, at least we can make sure our sister is safe. And if the heroes try something? Kota grinned maliciously under his mask. I will get to snap some necks. Mahoro shook her head at her brother's expression with an amused smile. The little girl was dressed in black knee-reaching sleeveless dress with red boots. She had a necklace with small skull that was fake but still scary. She put on eyeshadows and let her hair down. All in all, she looked like an edge queen. You guys look great. Melissa complimented with big smile as she was dressed in casual wear for today. She was gonna be their escort for Dome important discussion. Then Deku's phone started to vibrate and he picked it up instantly, seeing it was the girls. The U.A infiltration department. U.A spy, my lord, this is important. Rockstar, yes, shit got real, boss. Invisibeach, holy shit, sir. You gotta hear this. The boss, alright, now I'm worried. What's wrong? Why are so worried? U.A spy added Bloody Habanero into the group chat. Bloody Habanero joined the group chat under the default name Bloody Habanero. Bloody Habanero, sup. The boss, Rika-san? Bloody Habanero, just call me Red. The boss, alright, it is truly an honor to meet you, Red. The boss, you have some valuable info? Bloody Habanero, mightless. The boss, oh? Bloody Habanero, her new top scientist. Some sicko that gives the creeps. He created a new weapon for the QLF. The boss, and that is? What would be so worrisome? Bloody Habanero, quirk suppression bullets. The boss? U.A spy, I told you it was bad. Rockstar. Imagine the QLF shooting All Might with one. The boss already did. Good thing I am sending Shield Maiden to U.A to give them the formula for an antidote. Invisibeach, you are what? The boss, relax. We have a deal and this is too important for them. To ignore once I explain my reasoning. Bloody Habanero. Yeah, but that's not the worst of it. The boss, what would be worse than Overhaul going to bed with Mightless? Figuratively speaking. Bloody Habanero? Literally that happening? They were a couple. The boss, I got images in my head. The boss, images I did not want there. U.A spy, that's not even the worst of it. Rockstar, not even close. Invisibeach, nope. The boss, I am afraid to ask, but what? Bloody Habanero. Apparently Mightless is your fangirl. The boss, what? Bloody Habanero, yeah. She worships you with her whole being. She would practically hand you over the QLF if you ask nicely. The boss, holy shit. I don't know how unpack this. U.A spy, me neither. The boss, how do you know this all? The boss, not that I am ungrateful. Just, oh. Rockstar, she joined one of their combat cells just 2 weeks after joining. Started soldier training and all of that. Invisibeach, which is cool honestly. U.A spy, told you she was cool. Bloody Habanero, thanks sister. Anyways, I dislike her but not the QLF as whole. The boss, fair enough. I spent years as quirkless. The boss, so I know why they do what they do. I don't support it, but I'm not going to fight them over it. The boss, I just prefer them to not plant a bomb somewhere near me. The boss, or end the society as we know it before we are ready for that. Invisibeach, tell us what you feel comfortable about sharing, sister. Rockstar, no pressure. You got a spy. Anything else, sweetheart? Don't push it. Bloody habanero? Welp, I am positively terrified of the amount of stuff the QLF amassed. Bloody habanero. We are apparently pretty much drowning in weaponry, explosives, and support equipment. I mean, holy shit. You got a spy, and that's just her cell. The boss, someone is supporting you? Bloody habanero. No clue. It's not like they explain that anyone that ain't a high commander. Paranoid, and I respect that. Rockstar, here comes the shitty news now. The boss, worse than what you already said? You got a spy, yes. Much worse. Invisibeach, you remember that Kyoto bombing campaign almost 2 years ago? The boss. Yes. You got a spy. There were something like 5 combat cells involved in that. Bloody habanero. Largest joint operation of the QLF to date, and I assure you of that. Bloody habanero. Mightless said that this time they are amassing 50 combat cells. Invisibeach, oh shit. Rockstar, this a cluster. The boss, is she trying to pull redestro on Japan? You got a spy. I don't think that this country can survive another successful secession. That stupid redestro messed the country politically. The boss, I kinda screwed up too by weakening the HPSC the way I did. Bloody habanero, weaken it? Didn't you destroy it? The boss, no. She still has funding. International contacts and men as well as possessions. I killed her bodyguards and her workers. But she still has power. Just much less and not enough to be a threat because the public hates her guts. Invisibeach, which was cool of you, sir. Rockstar, so what are they planning? Bloody habanero. No idea, but they have at least 1,000 well-trained soldiers who literally live to see the world burn to ash, and that's holy F level of madness. Bloody habanero. Even worse, they also have some new weapons to test. Bloody habanero. I heard mentions of not only combat cells but also some demolition and heavy weapon cells being involved. Whatever those are. Bloody habanero. Numbers unknown, nature unknown. Sorry, that's all I have. Oh, and 2 weeks after the festival apparently. Invisibeach, don't sell yourself short. You gave us a lot. Rockstar. Yeah, thanks for the effort, Red. You got a spy. Stay fine, sister. The boss. If things get too messed up, call me and I will literally storm in to get you. And I am willing to pay you handsomely with quirks later. Bloody habanero. Thanks. Gotta go, my time to lead the squad on some MLA a-holes. Rockstar, give them hell for us. Bloody habanero, alright. Bye for now. With that done, Deku sighed loudly. Fantastic. The rat will flip when he heard about this, and Eraserhead will drink a whole pot of coffee, and Night Eye will probably build himself an anti-nuclear vault for safety, and All Might will try something dumb and self-sacrificial. Good thing his new reputation is keeping the crime and villain groups in check. Seriously, Japan is scared of him more than All Might if he became a villain. Which was cool. It has been just a week since the HPSC was destroyed, or more like their home was destroyed. He got his merch and gave the Nitro Gremlin his quirk back with additional changes and met his godparent along with scaring the shit out of Nedzu for funsis. But now this happened. What the F is Mightless plotting? And Redestro is planning something big too? Well, at least he won't be bored in the next while he guessed. David Shield sighed in absolute defeat for probably the billionth time since his daughter was practically kidnapped by another quirkless kid who apparently was abused and fed in the head so badly the kid kidnapped his daughter and made her a villain, but as a parent and someone who adored children he still sympathized to the point of snapping. Then was groomed by the freaking All for One. How the hell did he survive losing his face? And became his successor. And apparently has his quirk and many more. Seriously, the kid proved to be a genius since the good detective sent them copies of the kid's notebooks. That level of intelligence at 6 made him salivate, and he was genuinely a genius. Melissa would have loved to meet him and they would have been good friends, well, in a way that doesn't involve being villains, and what sucked was the fact that he wanted to be a hero just like his little girl. Was that what his child could have been if he wasn't supportive enough? Or if they in a more discriminatory place that was outside Island? The thought was just horrible. He knows his daughter. She was practically a genius more than him and very talented. If she became a villain with her support gear or at least started selling it to other villains, he doesn't want to hear what would happen. David sighed once more. 1,000,000,001. He really messed up, didn't he? He saw the fight with Maruko. If that kid could still be so strong while quirkless, be the infamous and fearsome Green Rabbit, does that mean he wronged his daughter? Did he mislead her from a possible dream? Was he, No better than those who hated quirkless people? The thought made him sick. Ever since he found out his daughter was quirkless, he discouraged her from heroics as much as possible. He didn't want his daughter to be caught in that world of dangers. The job was full of horrors, and if someone as powerful as Toshinori almost died, then what would happen to his daughter? What would happen to his little girl? But that didn't matter. Ever since Karma went to Island and spoke to his daughter and showed her that David researched and was horrified by the quirkless suicide rates in Japan and the horrible treatment of quirkless people in Japan, and much to his shame exposed how he hired Wolfram for a false attack on Island, and now after so much thought he realized how much of a dumb idea it was. Wolfram was an international SSS-ranked supervillain and a backstabber. What would assure Dave that Wolfram would stick to his contract instead of taking the device? Not that it mattered. After Karma's raid on Island, the footage showed him destroying the device and leaving a decoy. It was for he supposed. He realized that the device would be the end of the world if it went to someone like Wolfram, Redestro, Mightless, Maria or Beast. He didn't know if his device amplified complex mutant-type quirks, but he really didn't want to know either. The memory of the raid was still fresh in his mind, and how the white and sometimes green-haired mastermind attacked probably one of the most secured places in the whole world and got away without leaving anyone behind. David Shield still can't believe that this kid also fought Star and Stripe before leaving. It was a goddamn stalemate, but she was America's #1 hero. That was an achievement in David's opinion. And his daughter became a powerhouse herself now and got a quirk powerful enough to let her fight All Might himself and win the match. His daughter seemed well trained too. Looks like Karma made his daughter into a powerful villain, much to his scientist's regret. If he helped her be a hero, then she couldn't have been a villainess that was practically S-ranked for crushing All Might. Part of him took pride in that, and he was eternally ashamed for failing his child. He still remembers that day. Ever since Melissa left Island, that day kept haunting him. The day of the diagnosis. His daughter looked broken. And he unintentionally rubbed salt on her still fresh wound. David was pacing around the living room anxiously thinking of what to do. He and his wife had unremarkable quirks, so he didn't expect his daughter to get something powerful. But she was quirkless. He still loved her. That much hasn't changed. She was his baby girl and he will love her forever. It was something that nothing could possibly change. But that wasn't the problem. When they went to see what quirk she would get, the little angel was literally bouncing in place in excitement. She wanted to have a quirk, become a hero, then become a great one. Save people with a big smile on her face like All Might. She loved Toshi, that much was ridiculously obvious to anyone, and Toshi loved her as much. She idolized him. Wanted to be like him. Wanted to save many lives and give hope and joy. But when the doctor explained that she was quirkless, her eyes seemed to lose their spark. He winced as her expression was frozen between a forced smile and pained expression. It hurt. Any father worth their salt would feel pain seeing their child in agony, and his daughter was experiencing the worst type of it right now. Her dreams and goals in life were snuffed out of her grasp by a goddamn extra toe joint. Her dreams on being a hero were practically ruined before they even had a chance to begin. Deciding to check on his little angel, the scientist walked to the little girl's room and opened it slowly. It was dark. There was a single light in the desk, which was worrisome honestly. "Honey, are you there?" David asked gently and carefully as he opened the door to his daughter's room. The little girl was sitting on the chair facing her desk and was drawing something on a piece of paper vigorously. David approached and saw what seemed like plans on suits and support gear. She was trying to design something like she always does. The little girl turned to him and held up her designs with a smile, but her smile was more forced than genuine and her eyes were filled with tears. It broke his heart to see her like this. "Honey? What are you doing?" David asked carefully as he looked at his daughter with barely concealed worry. The little girl held out her drawings even higher to him with that horribly forced smile. "With those? Do you think I could be a hero? Do you think it's possible, Daddy?" The little girl asked quietly. David smiled and put his hands on his daughter's shoulders and smiled happily. "Oh my dear. You could be with those, be a hero to all heroes. Just like me. You would be an amazing scientist that helps heroes. Creates so many devices that could help others. Just like a hero helps other." David said with a big smile on his face. The little girl's smile got something into it David couldn't place, but she nodded her head at his words. "All right, Daddy. If that's what you think." Melissa said, her smile somewhat more forced than before. She hugged her dad and started crying. But she didn't seem like crying from happiness. The scientist slapped his forehead at his past stupidity. Her smile was bitter and full of despair. He literally added salt on her wound and didn't help the matter. She asked if she could use her mind and creations to make up for the lack of quirk, but he was too goddamn stupid to get it. She could have been a hero if she wanted, but he never supported her. What type of father was he? She was his daughter and he couldn't even back her up. Who else did she have for that? The scientist shook his head as he walked out of the airport. He will get her back even if it was the last thing he does. That's why he joined the UA. He doesn't remember last time he was here in Japan. That must have been many years ago. Probably since the defeat of All for One, but ironically the guy somewhat was the reason he is back. Somewhat. As he walked out of the international airport he spotted his old friends, Toshinori Yagi and Mirai Sasaki. The three of them fought together against the symbol of evil along with Tsukachi, Nedzu and shockingly the HPSC. The fact that Nedzu cooperated with them proved what type of threat the man was. He was a powerhouse that even Toshi wasn't sure he could beat. As well as smart and ridiculously cunning that Nedzu and Night Eye struggled against his empire of crime. They haven't changed in the slightest? Well, Mirai didn't, but Toshi? The comparison between the current #1 hero and the one from few years ago made him wince in sympathy to his old friend. While All for One did a number on him, didn't he? Then again, the villain didn't come out unscathed either. At least he got his face splattered on a good chunk of the battlefield, so he got his payback. The two noticed him, smiled. Well, Toshinori smiled widely, but Mirai sent a scarce wave, which was a lot coming from the Foresight user, honestly. Dave. Over here. Toshinori waved cheerfully as Dave walked to them quickly. The blonde was always smiling. A good quality about him. And he had many of those. Hello there, my old friends. It has been a while, hasn't it? How long was it since we last met like this? David asked as he shook his two friends' hands with a smile on his face. He was genuinely happy to see them even if under such circumstances. Few years of minimal contact didn't change much. They respected each other beyond description and admired each of their skill sets. Well, if we are being accurate, 6 years and 2 months and 6 days, Mirai said with nod of his head. He was as unreadable and unexpressive as ever. Good to know few things never change. Yes, a very long time if I say so myself, Toshinori said with smile. He was happy to see his old friend again. Yeah, indeed. Wish it was under better circumstances and with one more person though, David said grimly as he looked down in sadness. That definitely brought down the mood, but Toshinori went to cheer them up. Another good quality about him. Well, old friend, I promise you that we will do our best to get Melissa back, but for now why don't we go to CU.A? I am sure Nedzu would be more than happy to have someone of your caliber joining us. Toshinori said with big smile. Encouraging as ever. Indeed, we were really in a tight spot, so someone like you would be very invaluable. Mirai agreed with a nod of his head. With that, the three got in the back of the car where they grabbed their phones while the driver of the car took off. The U.A War Council. Highmind joined the group chat under the default name Highmind. Highmind, hello everyone. The Brain, welcome to our council, David Shield. It is truly an honor to meet you. Highmind, pleasure is all mine, Principal Nedzu. You are the smartest being in Japan technically. The Brain, but you are more knowledgeable. That definitely is what matters the most. Neednap, hello and welcome to the club of how to keep Japan afloat with all the shit happening, Shield-san. We have t-shirts. Straight face. Highmind, didn't know Eraserhead for a joker? I spy. It's not a joke. Super Punch. Yeah, we have t-shirts. It's actually a thing. Fashion statement. Oh, another member. Welcome to the club. Captain America. Welcome new member. Driller Thread. Yes. Welcome to the U.A War Council, Mr. Shield. Mean Rabbit, so another nerd joined the club? Cool. What's up, Brain Guy? Dragon Queen, Rumi, be respectful. Mean Rabbit, what? I'm stating a fact. I wasn't making fun of him. You know that the most. Dragon Queen, yeah, but your text counts as bullying someone. Fashion statement, very unfashionable. We must be honest here. Driller Thread, kinda bullying. Sorry, but on text it sounds like you are messing with him. Mean Rabbit. Straight face. Hotbird, nah, I heard worse. Much worse. Captain America, that's not encouraging, man. Highmind, actually an I-Island nerd is a compliment. A high one in fact. So no problem. Mean Rabbit. Mean Rabbit, really? Highmind, plus nerds are cool. I can literally build a mech suit that can shoot rockets with laser cannons. Now that's cool. Mean Rabbit, you have eternally gained my respect, Brain Guy. Mean Rabbit, and if you have some videos of armed mech suits destroying each other, please send them. Mean Rabbit, I would pay for a good movie. Fashion statement. Why would he have such a thing? Driller Thread, Maruko is weird. Captain America, weirdo lol. Mean Rabbit HUI. Hi Mind, actually we in I Island have a whole club devoted to robots battling with rockets and lasers. Hi Mind, it's kinda brutal but with soil more than blood. Mean Rabbit. Hot Bird. Captain America. Fashion Statement. Dragon Queen. I Spy. Need Nap. Super Punch. The Brain, I would like a recording if you would be so kind. Mean Rabbit, we're gonna be good friends. Now I'm sure. Hot Bird, why am I suddenly scared of this guy? Need Nap, because he is another genius at Hot Bird. Need Nap, he is just a human Nedzu. Super Punch, is that good or bad? I can't tell honestly. I Spy, only time would tell I am afraid. I Mind, so who is here basically? The Brain, Eraserhead, All Might, Me, Night Eye, Maruko, Hawks, Crust, Ryukyu, Ed Shot, Best Genist and now you. I Mind, well this good. The boss joined the group chat under the default name Satan 2. Satan 2, what's poppin'? Need Nap. Super Punch. Dragon Queen? Mean Rabbit. I Spy. Captain America. Fashion Statement. Driller Thread. The Brain, how does everyone keep hacking into this group chat? Need Nap, I want to know myself. This worrisome. Satan 2. Oh, I have Shield Maiden and La Brava skillfully hacking my way anywhere. Satan 2, you can't hide from karma. I am inevitable by all means of the word. Satan 2, inevitable. Satan 2, and no I am not going to sink Japan to Kingdom Come or something. Satan 2, I am here in a peaceful offering. Need Nap, of everything you are. Need Nap, a liar is not. I guess I will trust your word for now. The Brain, now this is intriguing. Satan 2, I like speaking with smart people. Hi Mind, did you say Shield Maiden? Satan 2, holy shit. It's David Shield. Satan 2, shit. What do I do for an autographed jersey? From some basketball club in America? I could give you 2 CRC churches with evidence. Hi Mind, The Brain, we will take the deal. I Spy, and very happily. Hi Mind, help the new guy. Hi Mind, how often does the #1 villain ask for autographed merch? Need Nap, very often shockingly. Satan 2, man wish I knew he was here. Satan 2, haha just kidding. I knew he was coming today. Super Punch. Hi Mind. I Spy. Oh, Satan 2, again. Shield Maiden and La Brava. All those two are so OP hackers together it's almost unfair. Satan 2, for other people that is. The Brain, hackers and support engineers are usually the most dangerous I am afraid. And for good reasons that is. Satan 2, along with warpers and healers. Don't forget them. They are irreplaceable. Mean Rabbit, kid you owe me a rematch. Satan 2, and get shot by some crazy witch in the back? No thank you battle junkie lady. Satan 2, I have 4 kids to take care of that I love so much so I will have to politely decline. Satan 2, along with an entire kindergarten of mentally challenged villains. Need Nap, sounds like an exaggerating. They are teens and adults. You are in fact one of the youngest there. Satan 2, my brother Reaper basically wears literal hands of his family that he accidentally dusted when he was 5. When his quirk manifested. Satan 2, lived in the streets until Master found him and nobody cared to help thinking heroes will. Satan 2, spoilers they didn't. And because of it he is mostly a psychopath that enjoys murdering them and I am trying to decrease his hostility but it's hard since he is a bit of a man-child. Satan 2, so we have a I am Brawn you are Brain deal where he only kills those I tell him to. In another world he would have been an amazing rescue hero but here he is a villain. Because he has the talent and tenacity for both professions. Need Nap. Need Nap, I regret speaking from the depths of my heart. This is one of the worst things I ever heard. The Brain, oh dear. Super Punch, that's just one of many stories in the league isn't it? Satan 2, afraid so. Hot Bird. Shit. Fashion Statement. People sometimes are unfashionable. Driller Threat and very dumb. Who would wait for a hero to drive a kid into an orphanage? Captain America. SI uncool. Dragon Queen, I want a throne up from just that one. I Spy, can we change the subject? Because if we keep going down this rabbit hole I might commit homicide. Need Nap, same here. The Brain, yes we need to change the subject now. Mean Rabbit, again. You owe me a rematch. Dragon Queen, good job Rumi. Satan 2, no. Hi Mind, I feel mostly ignored do I will ask again. Hi Mind, how is my daughter? Satan 2, physically or mentally or emotionally. Hi Mind, Super Punch. Are you seriously going to emotionally torment a worried father about his little girl? Satan 2. Satan 2, I sympathize. I love my daughters more than anything else in this gruesome and disgusting world, and would happily burn it down for them. Fashion statement. Hot Bird, Big Mood Man. Captain America. Is that how you see it? Satan 2. Being quirkless is like being a mutant but much worse, with people not afraid of attacking you. In fact, very happy to do that. And the law offers zero help instead of minimum of it. Mean Rabbit. Mean Rabbit, oh shit. I mind, my daughter please. Satan 2, alright sir. She is more than fine and very happy in fact. Spends her days sparring with the other girls in the league, doing girl talks or playing with my kids. Satan 2, oh that's in the late evenings. At the mornings to evenings she spends the day creating technology and turning my base into a mini island. Satan 2, we are drowning in support gear and items. Like an army base. Satan 2. LO, she even hacked multiple channels and companies to get us limited edition games and movies. Super Punch, at least she is fine. The Brain. May I know why did you hack our group chat like this, Deku-san? I spy. I doubt you came here to chit-chat. Satan 2, well? Satan 2. What are the chances that you give my kids a tour in the U.A with a guide? Super Punch. I spy. The Brain. Mean Rabbit. Dragon Queen. Captain America. Fashion statement. Driller Thread. Hot Bird, are you being serious right now? Satan 2, yes. I mind. Help the new guy please. I mind. How often does the #1 villain pop into your group chat to ask random shit like this? Need nap. Considering it has been a week since he burned down the HPSC, I would say once a day. I spy, although I wasn't expecting it at 7 in the morning. Satan 2, trust me, Eri-chan is giddy for this. This is a girl you do not want to disappoint. I spy. Why your other kids though? Fashion statement. Are you regretting making them into villains? Satan 2. Not regret, but I want them to have multiple career options. Super Punch. So you want us to guide your kids in a hero school because... Satan 2. I will be honest with you. Satan 2. I am not as encouraging to them being villains as you may think. They only see heroes for their wrongs they do and the bad guys, but I want them to see the goods of them too and that there are god heroes out there as well. Satan 2. If they still wish to be villains after that, then fine. I would be happy to teach everything I know. Need nap. Considering how you turned out to be, I say we don't need 4 minions of yours. Satan 2. 3. Eri-chan is dead set on bring the next recovery girl. It is kinda sweet actually. And I can't bring myself to imagine her being anything else than the best doctor alive. Satan 2. She is a living angel and I swore bloody vengeance on anything that would harm her. I spy. The Brain. So you are sending 4 children into my school even though 3 of them count as very valuable members to you and you are giving us the chance to add them to the hero side. The Brain, because you want be a good father? Did I get it correct? Because humans sometimes confuse me. Satan 2. Yes. That is correct. Need nap. You are the weirdest villain I ever encountered. Satan 2. I know. Hot Bird. You know you make it very hard for me to fear you or hate your guts when you act like the world's most doting father and speak about your kids like they are the best thing in the world since sliced bread. Satan 2. In a perfect world most of the league would have been great heroes or in Negan's case stayed heroes. But our world is not perfect and I am a villain, so you see where I am going with this. Satan 2. I want to give my adopted wards that chance since just for their quirks the government wouldn't say no. The Brain. That would be understandable for any father, yes. But I can't just let you send them just like that. I spy. It take a bit. Maybe a week to prepare for the occasion. Satan 2. That wouldn't do. Satan 2 sent an attachment. Dragon Queen. Ah. I mind. As a father to a girl myself I say. Daughters are a blessing. Satan 2 agreed. Captain America. I think I just got diabetes from that picture. Hot Bird. Adorable. Holy shit. Mean Rabbit. Shit, that's cute. Fashion statement. This is unarguably the most fashionably adorable child I ever saw. Driller Thread. No words to describe honestly. Truly magnificent. Satan 2. Do you really want to make her sad? She is practically giddy for the visit. And to meet Recovery Girl. Do you want me send a pic of her crying? Super Punch. This is blackmail. Captain America. Emotional blackmail. Satan 2. No. It's not. Need nap. Hot Bird. Huh? Satan 2. This is plus ultra persuasion. Mean Rabbit. Captain America. Fashion statement. Driller Thread. The Brain. Did you seriously just... I spy. Wow, you are an evil incarnation. Satan 2. I am the successor of all for one. What else did you expect? Did you forget I am a villain? Super Punch. Somehow yes. Satan 2. Well, that's a bit disappointing, but whatever. I have important news. The brain? Oh dear. Need nap. Shit. I spy. I have a bad feeling about this. Super Punch. Same. Satan 2. Apparently Overhaul, who was broken out on his way to Tartarus and I ignored because him actually joined the QLF. Mean Rabbit. Dragon Queen. Fashion Statement. Captain America. Driller Thread. Hot Bird. Super Punch. You mean the same guy who was able to create the quirk suppressing bullets and quirk erasing bullets? Satan 2. Yes. Need nap. Shit. I mind. Oh crap. Satan 2. My reaction exactly. Though mine was oh shit instead. I spy. How did you know that? Satan 2. One of the League members used to be in an orphanage. Satan 2. Their best friend was a quirkless. Joined the QLF 7 months ago. After running from their shitty orphanage. And shockingly in just 2 weeks joined the combatant training. Mean Rabbit. Wow. Hot Bird. That's an achievement. Satan 2. Indeed. Anyways, she is now a squad commander and gets me news because she came to actually like everyone else to realize that Mightless was a psychopath. Super Punch. Understatement of the millennium. Satan 2. And apparently Mightless went to bed with Overhaul. Figuratively and literally. Just F me, the images are too horrible to describe. The brain, and the results? Satan 2. Not exactly sure, but he was producing physical enhancement medicines, quirk triggers and amplifiers. And the worst is, he somehow found a way to replicate the quirk suppressing bullets without Ares' blood. How I'm not sure, but I know for a fact it works. Satan 2. I will send Shield Maiden to discuss the information I took from Overhaul's lab thoroughly. You need to learn how to create antidotes. The brain? Oh dear. I spy. This a disaster. Super Punch. So this is getting worse, isn't it? Mean Rabbit. F. I mind. Sorry if not taking this seriously, but you are sending my daughter? Satan 2. Yeah, enjoy the family reunion. Satan 2. On other note. Satan 2 sent an attachment. The brain? Super Punch. Dragon Queen. Mean Rabbit. Are trying to kill us with these pics. Hot Bird. If you are marketing for adopting little girls, I am persuaded. Fashion Statement. Me too. Driller Thread. Yes. Captain America. Same. Satan 2. Show to Lemillion. I kinda owe him for being too harsh in the raid. I'm actually a fan of the guy. He is one of the good guys and Eri does like him. LOL, his face is easy to draw and he inspired her and she wants to heal at least 1 million people. I spy. This will be cathartic to Mirio beyond belief. Satan 2. Just tell him to win the festival tomorrow. My daughter is rooting for him. The brain, we will relay the message, Deku-san. And we would be delighted to have the chance for influencing young talents into heroics. Satan 2. Good luck. Katsuma is your best bet since Mahoro wants to be my successor and Kota practically wants to be another Stain. Super Punch. Oh. I spy. Oh no. Need nap. Shit. The brain? Oh dear. Satan 2. Yeah, actually I would appreciate if you got those 2 a session with Hound Dog. The brain? With pleasure. Satan 2. Alright, my kids should arrive at 9. Satan 2 out. Satan 2 left the group chat. Omake. Demon Puppy Eyes from Hellpoint 5. Eri is eating some food that Inko made for her and it was really yummy. Her grandma was nice and loved her a lot. Like her papa. She looked like him too and was warm like him too. Eri loved her grandma so much. The food was great, but she doesn't like something in the food, much to her shame. She dislikes green peppers. They weren't as yummy. She didn't like eating them. Welp, at least her siblings seemed to not like it too, so she wasn't alone in that. It made her feel slightly better. Slightly. Eri looked at her grandma hopefully along with her siblings. Grandma, I don't like green peppers. Can I not eat them? Eri asked hopefully. Yeah, I don't like them either. Mahoro chimed in looking hopeful too. The 2 boys nodded their head in agreement and hummed along. Inko smiled and tilted her head to the side. Now children, if eat them you grow big and strong, okay? Your dad ate them and look at him now. He beat anyone else and always the best. Inko encouraged with big smiled. Eri pouted. But I don't like it, Grandma. Can I have your apple pie dessert now? Eri asked hopefully. Yeah, your desserts are awesome. Kota cheered. Please? Katsuma asked hopefully. Pretty please? Mahoro added. Inko shook head. Not until you eat your plate until it is empty, young ones. Inko said with a frown. She wasn't budging. Grandma, please? The four kids said in the same time with wide innocent eyes shining brightly and quivering and trembling lower lips. A move that never failed even on the symbol of evil himself. Inko, who wasn't affected at all with the puppy eyes, shook her head. Not until you eat all the peppers, my dear grandbabies. This is final. Inko said with finality. Okay. The kids gave in and kept eating with pouts on their faces. Others who see this looked at Inko in disbelief, with the question going in their heads again and again. How is she immune to the puppy eyes? Izuku just chuckled. For some reason I'm not even surprised that she is immune to the puppy eyes. Later. Inko walked into the living with a plate of cookies to everyone but was confused as everyone was staring at her strangely. The League of Villains were staring at Inko with an expression that could only be described as "I see God" on their faces. What is the matter, everyone? Inko asked, confused. How? Stain started. How? Tamura added. How in Deku's name? Dabi tried. How the hell are you immune to the puppy eyes? Kaya asked in disbelief. Inko shrugged before pulling a picture of a 4-year-old Izuku with the infamous puppy eyes from hell. It was horribly and horrifyingly cute and adorable. Had lots of practice. Inko said with a smile. The League stared at the picture for a bit before growing his hands in the air in defeat. F jeans. They are his kids. Shinso groaned and everyone else followed his example. Inko just giggled. The World Heroes Association has begun investigating on the Hero Public Safety Commission and the accusations made by the world-recognized supervillain Karma, who went on a one-man army rampage and killed over 405,789 people in bloody revenge for the kidnapping of his mother, to determine the veracity of the young villain's claims. They claim that, at the moment, the bulk of the claims mentioned in the live recording appear to be factual, and they are investigating the commission leftover members, which surprisingly is restarting in another part well guarded in another part of Japan. The association has given Japan's Hero Public Safety Commission the order to resign. The HPSC has yet to respond to those demands. And considering the bad state of hero relations in Japan and the rise of supervillainous organizations, it pointed out that they can't resign in the current circumstances. Click. The channel changed and a different anchor was reading the news. Conflict erupted in the streets of Shinjuku as citizens marched, calling on the authorities to lock down the Hero Public Safety Commission. The demonstrators were faced with counter-protesters who believed that the commission was necessary, most likely paid by said commission. Authorities dash. Click. CI Academy becomes the third hero school in Japan to condemn the HPSC in the wake of the controversy. It joins Udata High and Shiketsu Academy in refusing orders by the heroic governing body, namely that all students with provisional licenses must intern with a pro-hero this semester. While also both CI and Shiketsu have gone so far as to officially endorse UA's position that the HPSC is a villainous organization, their statements do agree with this claim as well. Click. One man in a suit, whose head was like an old television, asked, "Why can't the W just barge in and arrest them all? This is against all of their restrictions, and the HPSC is their subordinate organization. The WHA doesn't have the authority to step in and remove a government body from a sovereign nation." A man with dark visor-like eyes replied sternly. "There's a process that needs to go through, to determine the veracity of those claims and make the proper investigation and to ensure that the member nations agree that there's enough reason to take action. If the WHA can't control its members, what's the point of even having them?" The static-haired man replied. "Just call up Star and Stripe, Union Jill, Salam and every other hero there is and have them drag the HPSC out in handcuffs. Do you want to set the precedent that the WHA has the authority to invade a sovereign nation on a whim? Because I don't, and neither does anyone else," the visor man said darkly. "We endured countless wars between nations alongside the internal conflicts during the dawn of quirks because some government decided that its neighbors weren't acting correctly in response to the threat of quirked people. Do you want to return to those bad old days?" Click. "The Hero Public Safety Commission was doing all it could to protect us. Our streets were safer thanks to their efforts. We cannot let these criminals undermine society's need for law and order dash. Click. And if it weren't for the Yoioro's student loans bank offers, I wouldn't have spent that year in college. F the commission," a young man yelled in outrage. Click. When asked about the revelations, All Might responded thusly. All Might stood at a podium. He was in his normal form, the twig-like form, not wanting to waste his time limit standing since it was no longer a secret. "Throughout my career I strove to stay out of politics. At first it was because I believed that my job was more important. Saving lives was my first and foremost goal throughout my career." All Might started. "Additionally, once I was established, I believed that my fame and popularity would have given me an outsized impact on a field I was unqualified to be part of. I once caused a nationwide shortage of mayonnaise when I said that I liked to add mayonnaise to my hamburgers with it rather than ketchup. Would it not be irresponsible to tip the scales of an election? All Might asked with a chuckle. So I kept my views quiet, and I anonymously donated to multiple charities that champion causes I supported. From soup kitchens and food banks, to after-school sports programs, to wildlife conservation, to legal funds for people suffering from quirk discrimination, whether that was for heteromorphic quirks, difficult-to-control quirks, or those who lack quirks entirely. All funded by me but always in secret. All Might explain then sighed. I regret that decision now. There may have been a way I could have decreased the Hero Public Safety Commission's foul and villainous tactics. I will never know if I could have saved people by challenging them. And worse, they used the peace I started and tried my hardest maintaining to justify their horrifying actions. I unwittingly endorsed this great evil. All Might admitted with shame. All Might bowed his head. I apologize to everyone in Japan, especially those whose lives were impacted, those whose families were lost, those whose futures were stolen. I will be sure to teach my students to never be silent against the forces of injustice, particularly when those forces claim to be working for the common good. I will do all I can to ensure that the next generation does not learn from my complacency. All Might looked at the camera. And if there is one positive thing to take from the events that have unfolded, it is that we know for a fact that the HPSC is wrong. Not merely that they acted like villains, but that their attempts to maintain society failed. Their so-called greater good was anything but. And now, anyone in the future who feels compelled to commit atrocities for the powerful as though it would benefit society can look at the HPSC and definitively say that those actions will help no one. They will forever serve as a wrong example. As All Might finished and the reporters clamored for questions. Click. Man, shit's hitting the fan pretty quickly, huh, boss? You really fed the commission over. They are restarting, but at best they will be struggling to exist instead of growing. Shinso offhandedly commented as he sipped some coffee. Yeah, it's chaotic out there. And Uncle is pretty much going into interviews bashing the HPSC as much as he could. Melissa grinned. Didn't know he was so brutal. The scientist giggled. And the United Nations are considering sending in Star and Stripe along with other top-ranked heroes from other countries to deal with the president and the HPSC. Kana smiled then frowned slightly. Although they will for sure target our group and the others. I mean, cool on them but sucks on us. Kana sighed and Deku shrugged. It's alright, Kana. We will worry about it if it happens. Mizuki won't let foreigners get into the country if he had a say in the matter. That's the only thing he is good for, Deku assured. Oh, now they are unleashing the new villain rankings. Toga said excited. The entirety of the League of Villains were in the living room together, sitting and chilling together. Well, the spies were in their homes but they were watching the news themselves. Can someone explain to me how the villain rankings work? It kind of confused me for a while now. Katsuma asked politely. Yeah, same here. It's a bit confusing honestly, Koda admitted. Mahoro nodded, implying she doesn't understand either. Deku just smiled and nodded at the question. Well, the villain ranking system in Japan is like this. E to A ranks are normal villains, so pretty much from the thugs to people capable of going toe-to-toe with ranked heroes, and I mean ranked as in numbered, not exactly top 10. Following me, kids? Deku asked and the kids nodded there, implying they understand. Then you have supervillains with a threat level going between S-ranked, so singular thugs capable of fighting top heroes, lesser villain organizations leaders that has managed to become infamous enough, etc. Still following? The kids nodded and Deku continued. Then we have the SS ranked, like those who are major threats, thinking heads of major villains/terrorist groups that can uniformly go against top heroes. The kids kept following and hanging on every word Deku said. And then we have the SSS ranked, whom are existential threat to the country, such as All for One, Me and Redestro, Mightless Maria and Beast, as well as Wolfram, although he in turn Flecked are international villains. Deku finished and the kids. Thank you, Daddy. Mahoro smiled brightly and Deku patted her head gently. Oh, here we are. Tell me my level and stats. Tamura said excited. Everyone looked and focused on the screen. The list of Japanese supervillains, updated after the destruction of the HPSC HQ. Sis rank. Karma from the League of Villains, rank 1. Redestro from the Meta Liberation Army, rank 2. Mightless from the Quirkless Liberation Front, ranks 3. Maria from the Creature Rejection Clan, rank 3. Beast from the Inhuman Supremacy Party, rank 4. Wolfram from the East Asia Mercenaries, rank 4. Sis rank. Reaper from the League of Villains, rank 5. Lady Nagant from the League of Villains rank 6. The Hero Killer Stain from the League of Villains rank 6. Shield Maiden from the League of Villains rank 7. Turn Flecked from the Human Rise rank 8. Shrek. Gui 10 from the Meta Liberation Army rank 9. Slide and Go from the Meta Liberation Army rank 9. Hunter from the Quirkless Liberation Front rank 10. Joseph from the Creature Rejection Clan rank 10. Tiger Claw from the Inhumane Supremacy Party rank 11. Kurogiri from the League of Villains rank 11. Mr. Compress from the League of Villains rank 11. There was a pause of surprise at that until the room exploded into cheers. Holy crap. Spinner yelled in shock and amazement as he looked at the rest of his friends in the league in disbelief. You guys are seriously infamous. This so amazing. Holy shit guys. This so cool. Mustard jumped up in joy as he gave the rest a thumbs up while grinning widely. Deku was just smirking while looking at the TV but not proud of himself. No, he was proud of his league. They were growing to be amazing villains. And as leader he took great pride in that. After all, it was his duty to turn people that joined him into fully fledged villains with skills, strength and reputation along with some personal creed and moral lines to not cross of course. He was proud of everyone for climbing the ranks too quickly. It was like the top 10 heroes but with villains and numbers could be shared. Oh, and the ranks is a kill on sight instead of the usual admiration top 10 heroes get. Nobody in the league was surprised that Deku was on top of the list. It was a given in their opinion. You don't single-handedly kill dozens of thousands of people and battle the top 10 heroes then fight Maruko after losing your quirk unless you are a real monster. Their leader being a number 1 villain was more of a normal fact they came to live with to them honestly, and they took great pride in being his followers. He was the person that brought them together, helped them when no one did, and the one helping them with their own goals and dreams for life, and in return they swore loyalty to him. To the side, Stain and Nagant were surprised to be raised up to SS-ranked villains so quickly. They didn't expect to be known to be this dangerous, but they definitely took some pride in that. It was no small feat after all. Being number 6 villains was a great achievement. One that would be mentioned in history books for a very long time. Then again, Kano was given reflex booster and velocity multiplier that made her bullets much faster along with trajectory that let her bullets literally move into different directions midday as well as airwalk so she could practically fight in the air and shoot anyone. Her skills were that of an S-ranked even after her incarceration, and she took great pride in that, but with her new quirks she was far stronger and more deadly. Thanks to the chief she came to follow. Stain was also gifted quirks by Deku, physical booster and reflex booster along with super regeneration and shock nullification along with attraction that let him pull his lost knives from distance and move however he wished. He was basically now a close quarters combatant to be feared and had something in the middle range. Even the likes of All Might would think twice before attacking him head-on, especially that Blood Curdle was potent enough to paralyze anyone instantly. Good job, Uncle, and untie. Mahoro sent them a thumbs up with a wide grin. Yeah. Number 6. That's a huge achievement. It's just so cool. Kota agreed. Tamura was busy grinning his head off while Deku patted his shoulder in encouragement. Him being SS ranked is probably because Nedza realized that the quirk Deku used on live TV to destroy the HPSC walls was a copy of Decay, so Reaper was capable of the same feats himself or more. The only reason he was SSS ranked is because he lacked the quality of leadership, but once they find out he leads the vanguards it will soon change. But he was more than fearsome as one of them because he single-handedly reduced 7 hero agencies, with everyone that was unlucky to be inside, to dust in the matter of seconds and killed anyone that tried to intercept him with a simple touch. He spent enough time with Deku to know how to fight quirkless until he got to use his quirk, and boy wasn't he a monster and a weapon of mass murder and destruction that couldn't be stopped. Wow, Uncle Tamura, you are 5th place just like Ed shot. That's so cool. Katsuma said with stars in his eyes, and Tamura patted his head with 4 fingers. Even though he was wearing his gloves he was still paranoid around people. Thanks little guy. Can't wait for you two brats to catch up. Tamura said playfully, and Kota scoffed in amusement. Oh please. I will be SSS ranked just like Dad. Kota declared, pumping his fist in the air and posing. Same here. I shall be the queen of all villains. Mark my words, Uncle. Mahoro declared proudly while grinning and posing. Which was very adorable. As for Melissa, who was looking at the TV screen in shock like this wasn't an obvious result, it was obvious that after the USJ attack she was instantly prompted from an unknown with no rank to an S-ranked villain just because she beat the symbol of peace and it was televised. But in the day of the destruction of the HPSC HQ, she single-handedly destroyed 6 hero agencies and crushed, non-lethally. She still wasn't comfortable with killing, which was perfectly fine and understandable, more than a couple dozen heroes that got in her way or tried to outright kill her. All Might was probably hitting his head on the wall right now and yelling in despair. The idea made Deku chuckle. Wow, Melissa-chan. This is so cool. You are a double SS-ranked criminal. That's no small feat. Be proud, sister. Toga said while hugging the still surprised scientist. Kurogiri was displayed as an S-ranked villain even though he was only a transporter, which made sense. Warpers, healers, hackers and support engineers were high on the priority list in the government watch because they were far harder to replace, especially the warpers. Their quirks was the best for infiltration, stealth, breaks in, breaks out and quick escapes. They were easily capable of turning a small group of middle-level villains into a dangerous one with their ability to transport in and out. Plus it was showed by Deku that Warpgate was capable of killing easily, like what he did to that woman Paragon 2 days ago. The resident bartender is in his bar listening and smiling, but not pride in himself. No, it was pride in everyone else and their achievements. Mr. Compress was next. He didn't commit any murders, but his many heists even since he joined the league, especially that he robbed many very rich government leaders and high-ranking pros. He even robbed freaking Endeavor. Twice. Now that was a PR nightmare for the flaming moron. Dobby cackled for hours when Compress came to the base holding many of the man's belongings. And lots of cash with Deku and Gentle. It was literally a work of art. Good job, Mr. Compress. You truly deserve such a rank. You worked hard for after all, and I am happy that it paid off. Gentle said encouragingly, and La Brava pouted. But you deserve a high rank too. La Brava said grumpily, then smiled at Compress. Not that I am saying that you don't deserve it, because you definitely do. La Brava assured the magic, who bowed to her. Thank you, my lady. Compress said with a flourish, and Deku chuckled. Don't worry, Minami-san. I will make sure that most if not all of you are S-ranks. The three of us will just have to step up our heist, that's all. Soon he will be an S-ranks and a famous one. That I promise you. Deku smiled brightly and La Brava beamed. Thank you, Deku-kun. La Brava said happily, and he chuckled again. No problem. Happy to help. Deku said with a wave. That caused everyone to smile. He was always supportive of everyone, and it was just sweet of him. Well, it's funny that you didn't kill any of the top 10 in the Coliseum. Would have gotten you more fearsome. Mustard commented. No. That is against my morals. They're good people. Well, most of them. Deku said, and everyone muttered F Endeavor, that he wholeheartedly agreed with. Deku is a villain, yes. And he is very comfortable and proud with that as a career choice. The word has a lot of meanings these days either way. But he has a strict code for what he was alright with in this business, and he genuinely thinks that heroes who genuinely do their best to save people, so begrudgingly All Might, as well as Ingenium and pretty much every rescue and underground hero, are just the coolest thing ever in the Villain Emperor's humble opinion. It kinda makes it easier to look at his own reflection in the mirror every day. But he will still fight them if necessary, and hopes that they won't corner him enough to force him to resort to lethal means. Deku's phone started to vibrate, and he picked it up, then grinned to himself seeing who called. Tired Dads. Dad for 20, Karma. You there? Evil Dad, yes. Dad for 20. Alright, good, since I am too tired to prolong this talk any longer than necessary. Evil Dad, but I gave you a quirk for that? Is it not working? I could get you a second copy if needed. Dad for 20, no. It's not that your quirk isn't working. Eileen, hell, I feel far better than ever. It's just, Dad for 20, I have a class of hellions. Problem children through and through. They make me question my own sanity every day. All of them and their shenanigans are too much for one man. Evil Dad, yish. Dad for 20, and both my boss and colleagues are the incarnation of a non-stopping headache. Mike is just too loud, Midnight is too teasing, Vlad is too competitive, Power Loader is too beachy about just one student, and I work with freaking All Might as a coworker. And the Rat is just someone you have to watch out from constantly. It's too much for the mentality of one man to process. Evil Dad, ouch. You made the most evil man in Japan wince in sympathy. Bless you and the effort you put on trying to raise the next generation of heroes. I salute you, Eraserhead. You are a true hero. Dad for 20, thanks. Although, ever since you vaporized Thunderbolt, my headaches decreased exponentially. So hanks for that, I guessed. _carrot. Evil Dad, oh? Really? I must hear this. Dad for 20, I don't have to stop myself from strangling that Sonava Beach whenever he makes an offhanded comment, cough, masked insults and quirkist sexist jabs, cough, about the quirks and appearances of students and teachers every day. _. Evil Dad, oh shit. I respect you even more now for not killing that guy for a whole year. Dad for 20, All Might was in the school for few days and came occasionally the year before, and every time he looked he was gonna punch Thunderbolt to the stratosphere. If that O felt like killing, then it's serious. And recovery girl herself didn't seem affected by his death. The recovery girl. The grandma that would feel a heartbreak seeing a kid scrap his knee. Frustrated face. Evil dad shit. Now I feel happy about killing that guy. Seriously, what the F? Dad for 20. As a hero I can't say I am happy for the death of someone, but... Evil dad, but... Dad for 20. I still bought drinks for the other teachers before school resumed. And got the rat a box of tea bags. And even got my students a bag of donuts and pretended it was gifted to me and didn't want it. Dad for 20. Pretty sure they caught me red-handed but didn't comment. Evil dad, LOLF Thunderbolt. XD. Dad for 20. With a chainsaw. Crying face. Evil dad, so what's this about, friend? Not that I mind this chat. I am enjoying it, in fact. Dad for 20. Well, we wanted to give you your payment for Bakugo's quirk the day of the attack on the witch, but I only caught you today. You were offline for the past 2 days. Evil dad, sorry. I've been busy. Got my mom and Endeavor's wife, all the two became instant besties, situated into the new home. Dad for 20. Interested in sharing details about the wife? I always had a bad feeling about that man. And Todoroki's scar. Evil dad, no. But know this. Once I expose it to the world, you will hate Endeavor 1,000,000 times more. Dad for 20. I am afraid of knowing if that possible. I already hate his guts too much that it's almost unhealthy. Trust me, you will wish to murder him and adopt Shoto yourself. That stupid is irredeemable. And I will kill him myself. Dad for 20. If you are sure he fine. But that's not our subject. Would you meet me for the payment? The festival is close by and Bakugo could use some practice before he gets too rusty. Dad for 20. I know I am asking for a lot of you. He was your main tormentor and you have all the right to hate him. But as his teacher I must try to help him. Evil dad, you really are cool, Eraserhead. I'm so happy I asked for your autograph. Fine, meet me tonight. You pick the time and place and then I will give that explosive brat his quirk back. Dad for 20. He has been shockingly chill ever since the USJ. And very calm and reserved. Crying face. Evil dad, oh? 0_0. Dad for 20, yes. It seems losing his quirk got him to rethink of his life choices and how it felt to be like you. Dad for 20, and your rampage of bloody revenge on the witch and her followers scared the shit out of him. I assigned him to sessions with Hound Dag because he keeps looking back like you will come out of some corner and rip his throat off. Frustrated face. Evil dad, huh? Didn't expect to leave such an impact, but it might for the best. I will give him his quirk back and leave him alone. He is not even worth pursuing anymore. I had my closure and honestly have more important things to deal with. Degree. Dad for 20, yeah. Redestro is rumored to be plotting something. Maria too. Whatever the CRC and MLA are scheming can't be anything good. Evil dad, yeah, might need to pull the symbol of evil on them too. The only reason I didn't destroy Redestro is because Detronat Lifestyle Company seriously is a big part of the country's economy. Dad for 20, yeah. That bastard seriously made himself hard to touch. The Sunava Beach, he started a revolutionary army under everyone's nose. Started an economical empire that made itself a vital part of the country and indoctrinated so many people from youth to his cause. Dad for 20, seriously, what does that ginger Pinocchio smoke? Because for someone with super strength equal to current All Might he has brains. Dad for 20, brains big enough to become what he is now without Nedzu or the HPSC noticing. Evil dad, power doesn't mean stupidity. My master could flatten streets with one attack and he was smart enough to rule Japan from the shadows, as well as wage a war against All Might, Nedzu, Sir Night Eye and the Japanese government. And I am just like him. Dad for 20, fair enough. How are you doing, by the way? I mean, after being shot. Twice. Evil dad, pretty fine actually. Though my daughters were worried sick and kept clinging on me for an entire day. Evil dad, might get shot again if I felt lonely. Dad for 20, oh, you are such a dad. Evil dad, hypocrite. You love each and every student you ever had. Your expulsions are made from worry and love. With a bit of reality checks. Evil dad, and you have a long list of reliable therapists for your second year and third year students. And you keep checking on those you saw as problem children from previous years, even the graduates. Evil dad, Ms. Joke has a good eye and anyone who disagrees is a moron. Dad for 20, how do you know so much? Evil dad, trust you don't want to know. So where do we meet? Dad for 20, meet me in the XXXXX warehouse at midnight. Evil dad, just out of formality. Should I prepare for Snipe to shoot me with QSB just to realize that I am locked there with All Might or Nedzu that didn't have tea for a whole week? Dad for 20, XD. Dad for 20? Sorry, the image was just too good to pass up. Definitely doing that to someone I don't like. Dad for 20? Honestly no. But feel free to bring guards if your quirks aren't back yet. Evil Dad, alright. See you in 20 Eraserhead. Few days later. Eri Shigaraki was practically giddy. Today she was visiting U.A. She asked her papa if he could get her to meet Recovery Girl and he agreed. Her papa was so nice. He loved her so much and always did nice things to her. He helped her control her quirks. He added something called quirk altering quirk on hers to make it super easy to control. Now she could use it like she was using her hands to eat. She could heal so many people with it. She wants to save 1,000,000 people. Like Lemillion. Her papa explained to her that if he fought over Jerk, she likes that name on the a lot of nice people would have gotten hurt. She didn't want that. She doesn't want people to get hurt. It makes her feel horrible. And he did come for her. Her papa just came first. Her papa. She had a papa that loved. That took care of her. That loved her so much. That gave her everything she wanted. And she loved him so much. She also had siblings. Amazing siblings. Kotakuin was super strong and super protective. He cared for and said he would always protect her. She knew he was serious. And she knew that he was duper strong. She heard papa once say he is strong like a top hero. Those were super strong, so Kotakuin must be super strong too. There was Mahoro-chan. Her sister. She can summon monsters and sometimes when they were playing very cute and pattable animals. Her sister was a drama queen. She wanted to a villain like their papa. She knew papa did bad things but he only did it to bad people like Overhaul, so it was fine. And Mahoro-chan wants to be just like that. To hunt down the Overhauls of our world. Her monsters were super strong and she could even summon dragons that breathed fire. It was super cool actually. Then there was Katsuma-kun. The two of them got along very well. They both liked heroes. Eri liked Recovery Girl so much and he liked Deadshot. Deadshot is a good hero if her dad said so. After all, her papa was super smart and knew many things. Katsuma-kun was like her other siblings, a very strong fighter. He, as she remembered from when they saved her, he beat 4 Yakuza that worked for Overjerk alone. He was so awesome. And super nice too. She also had mamas. 6 of them and she promised to get another one soon. Which made her happy. Mama Miko was always nice to her and played with her. She taught her how to cut veggies with a knife and few stuff to defend herself, and she always did her hair. Mama Oka was nice too. She is not here super often because she was spy, but she always called. And she always said she loved her. Mama Oka always told her about space and stars and planets. It was neat. Then there Mama Lissa. Her mala always made her things. Like that one bracelet she wore at the start to not activate her quirk by accident. Eri was super happy with the gift and gave Mama Lissa a big hug. Mama Kyoka taught her how to play piano. She liked music. Music was nice and relaxing. And she liked the sounds from the piano. It was very relaxing. And everyone liked seeing and hearing her play. And Mama Kyoka always looked super proud when Eri did well. Mama Toru was also nice. Her hair was super pretty and she was super nice. Her Mama Toru always played with her even though like Mama Oka and Mama Kyoka was super busy to always be here, she still loved her so much and played with her whenever she came. Then there was Mama Momo. Her last mama always made her new things with her quirks. Her quirks was super cool. Her last mama was teaching her some games like chess. It was kind of fun. The first thing her Mama Momo made her was a plushie of her papa. It made her super happy. All her mamas loved her a lot and she also had many uncles and aunties. And they all loved her so much. I am so excited. Thank you much, Papa. Eri said happily as her papa brushed her hair. She likes when he does that. Feels nice. Her papa was nice. And she loved him so much. Why the hell should I waste my time on some jackass hero school? I already do online schooling and hate heroes with my whole being. Doesn't make goddamn sense. Kotakuin grumbled something vulgar as Malamiko was doing his tie. Because apparently his toes were horrible. The boy insisted if he was going to be dragged into U.A that he wears a mini suit like their papas. And he looked nice. Because Eri-chan puppy-eyed the 3 of us to join her and Dad thinks it's a good idea for us to see that not all heroes are jerks. Katsuma-kun shrugged as he adjusted his face mask. He insisted on wearing his own suit as well, much to their papa's embarrassment. Oh, he looks so cool. But what does he mean she puppy-eyed them? Nobody can overpower Eri-chan's cuteness. Nobody. Katsuma-kun shrugged his shoulders. Kotakuin just groaned very loudly and super dramatically. One downside of having an angel as a sister, I guess. But whatever, at least we can make sure our sister is safe. And if the heroes try something? Kota grinned maliciously under his mask. He can be scary sometimes, but she still loved him so much. I will get to snap some necks. Mahoro-chan shook her head at her brother's expression with an amused smile. The little girl was dressed in black knee-reaching sleeveless dress with red boots. She had a necklace with small skull that was fake but still scary. She put on eyeshadows and let her hair down. All in all, she looked like an edge queen. She looked super cute and cool. You guys look great. Mama Lisa complimented with big smile as she was dressed in casual wear for today. She was gonna be their escort for some important discussion with the Udata staff. Alright my dear kids. It's time to go. Make sure to behave, okay? And be politely to your elders and do not try to kill anyone. All eyes landed on Kota-kun as her papa mentioned the killing. Her big brother had a killing count of 30 bad people, and most of them because they missed him off. Her brother needs therapy, and for that she started reading about how to be one. And did online lessons. Fixing a body is cool. But fixing a mind and if possible a soul is super cool in her opinion. And she never mentioned how she wanted to give All Might a big hug. How she secretly hopes to make All Might hug her with her quirk active simply to bring him back to his full strength, because that would be super cool. But she knows her papa might get endangered in fighting All Might in full strength, so she will wait until he loses his quirk first. Why are you all looking at me? Kota-kun asked with a scowl on his face. Because you killed lots of people, Kota-kun. Eri pouted and he winced at her words. Fine, I won't hurt anyone. Unless they attack first, then they are fair game. Kota-kun crossed his arms. With that, Grand Pagiri came and opened a warp gate for them. She was going to U.A. The U.A. The place where the recovery girl works. She was so excited. She walked with her mama and siblings to Grand Pagiri's portal and stepped forward. First mission. The alarms in a local bank Muzutafu started working as it was being robbed. Of course, bank robberies were common in the world. Especially in the era of heroes and villains. Bank robberies these days something so mundane that it was easily just a typical day to most people. A villain robs a bank, what's new? The sky is blue? So yes, bank robberies were something normal. Except that this very bank robbery wasn't normal in the slightest. Ahahaha, everyone get on the ground and don't move, for I, Mahoro Shigaraki, the monster queen Echidna, am robbing this bank. Mahoro declared proudly in her dark dress, standing on top of a truck-sized tiger that for some reason had fire coming out of its mouth. Why the hell would a 6-year-old child possess such a dangerous monster would have been anyone's guess. But then again, that family name made it all click. Oh, if it was a relative of Karma, and her face indicates she was his daughter from the USJ who beat multiple hero Stymundans, so better not mess with her. The civilians did as instructed as they got down on the ground as the little girl summoned multiple birds from thin air and had them going around the workers collecting the money for her. One of the civilians who was hiding in fear looked at the little girls who was standing in the middle of the place with a pleased grin in confusion. Wait a second, kid, why are you robbing a bank? Isn't your dad, I don't know, super rich? The woman asked in confusion. Mahoro blinked at the question before tilting her head at the woman who spoke and smiling cheerfully. Oh, you talking to me? Well, it's how Daddy got started on his villain career, and when I asked for a solo mission he let me do this. He's the best daddy ever, so I want to do very well to show him he can rely on me and my siblings. Meanwhile, on the roof across from bank there were the entirety of the League of Villains watching the robbery and making bets on how it would go. Everyone decided to not comment on how their boss was recording on a digital camera with a big teary smile. If anyone saw him they wouldn't believe he was the Karma. My baby girl's first solo mission. I'm so proud. Deku said, almost crying, seeing the little girl going into an actual monologue while cackling. Dabi looked at his boss and decided to speak. Boss, you do realize she is a child, not a baby, right? Also, is it still a solo mission if we are all watching? Dabi asked in confusion, but honestly he didn't mind. He would never admit it out loud, but he found the current scene adorable. And if he had a daughter he would do the same thing. Deku just shrugged his shoulders, his smile never dropping and the camera never stopping the recording. Well, she will always be my princess and we won't step in unless she needs it. I'm just here to watch her. Ryukyu looked at Deku strangely, not believing what was happening with her right now as she stared at the villain leader dumbfounded. And I am here, why? Ryukyu asked confused. There was a collective shrug at that. Deku glanced at her from the corner of his eye. Well, I didn't want you to try and stop her since she could handle anyone, but top 10 are too much for first mission. So didn't want that to happen, and since you have common sense we grabbed you to watch with us so you couldn't intervene. And don't worry, she is only robbing Detronat boxes, so no innocent will be harmed financially. Deku explained casually as he kept recording. Toga jumped up in joy. Yay. Go Mahoro-chan. Show them who you truly are. Toga cheered. Oh, the little girl's first solo mission. Melissa cooed as she was watching with a high-tech spyglass she made for herself. Ryuko just sighed in defeat after few seconds of staring. This is my life now, the heroine said in a defeated tone. Oh please. At least I saved you from dealing with Kota's first solo mission, Deku said with an eye roll. There was a collective wince at that and Ryukyu sighed. Do I even want to know? What the hell did you do? Ryukyu asked with a groan. Somewhere else. Hey kid, are you lost? Where are your parents? A hero asked as he was standing in front of his agency. A corrupt pro with a very dirty past and many corrupt sidekicks. Kota just smirked at the man before transforming. Somewhere else. I am here interning with Uncle Stain. And my mission is to judge you. You fakes. The 6-year-old knight charged at the man intent on destroying him and his agency and sidekicks. On a nearby rooftop, Stain was recording with Nagant, both grinning widely. Man, they grow so fast. Stain comments while reveling in the screams. Yeah, the chief would be proud. Nagant agreed. That day a pro and 7 sidekicks had the fear of karma installed into their hearts. And they quit immediately after they left the hospital? 6 months later. I am so excited. Thank you much, Papa. Today I am going to visit you. Eri said happily as her papa brushed her hair. She likes when he does that. Feels nice. Her papa was nice. And she loved him so much. Her papa was the best in the world in her opinion. Why the hell should I waste my time on some jackass hero school? I already do online schooling and hate heroes with my whole being. Doesn't make goddamn sense. Koda-kun grumbled something vulgar as Mama Miko was doing his tie. Because apparently his ties were horrible. They were small and too messy. Her papa said that his were bad at first too but learned how to do better with practice. Her big brother insisted that if he was going to be dragged into U.A that he wears a mini suit like their papas. And he looked nice. He looked super cool in his suit. Like a mini papa. Because Eri-chan puppy-eyed the 3 of us to join her and Dad thinks it's a good idea for us to see that not all heroes are jerks. And I think he is right. I mean, not everyone are evil, so let's see it with our own eyes. Katsuma-kun shrugged as he adjusted his face mask. He insisted on wearing his own suit as well, much to their papa's embarrassment. Oh, he looks so cool. But what does he mean she puppy-eyed them? She didn't understand what that means? Like she forced them? She will ask her mamas later about it. Nobody can overpower Eri-chan's absolute cuteness. Nobody. Katsuma-kun shrugged his shoulders in a carefree manner. She blushed when he said she was cute. Ah, he was so sweet. Koda-kun just groaned very loudly and super dramatically at Katsuma-kun's words. One downside of having an angel as a sister, I guess. But whatever, at least we can make sure our beloved sister is safe. And if the heroes try something to hurt her? Koda-kun grinned maliciously under his mask. He can be scary sometimes, but she still loved him so much. I will get to snap some necks, her big brother said, a bit of sludge covering his arms before it disappeared. Mahoro-chan shook her head at her brother's expression with an amused smile on her face as she was fixing her hair. Her sister was dressed in black knee-reaching sleeveless dress with red boots. She had a necklace with small skull that was fake but still scary in Eri's opinion. Her sister put on eyeshadows and let her hair down instead of the usual pigtails. All in all, she looked like an edge queen. She looked super cute and cool. You guys look great. Mama Lisa complimented with big smile on her face as she was dressed in casual wear for today. She was gonna be their escort for some important discussion with the U.A staff. Eri didn't know what it was about, but she knew it was super important. Alright my dear kids. It's time to go. Make sure to behave, okay? And be politely to your elders and do not try to kill anyone, her papa instructed gently. All eyes landed on Koda-kun as her papa mentioned the killing. Her big brother had a body count of 30 bad people, and most of them because they pissed him off. Most of them were villains, bad ones unlike her big family. But 9 of them were bad heroes. And he doesn't seem bothered by the count. Her brother needs therapy, and for that she started reading about how to be a therapist. And for that she did online lessons in her free time after convincing her papa, who looked very proud of her. Fixing a body is cool. But fixing a mind and if possible a soul of someone is super cool in her opinion. She also asked Mr. Garaki for books since he was doctor, and he gave her some. Her papa reads them to her like bedtime stories. It was sweet of him. Eri wants to help other people. Especially heroes, the good ones. She wants to help those like Ectoplasm. Her papa mentioned that the hero lost his leg and is using an artificial one. She will help him when she gets to UA. Maybe also fix Ned's scar. Oh, and maybe make Recovery Girl the youthful heroine once again because it would be so cool and help anyone else that needs it. She never mentioned that to her papa though. And she also never mentioned how she wanted to give All Might a very big hug because he was a good hero that saved thousands of people in the past, which was super cool. She never mentioned how she secretly hopes to make All Might hug her with her quirk active simply to bring him back to his full strength because that would be super cool in her opinion. But she knows that her papa might get endangered in fighting All Might in his full strength, so she will wait until he loses his quirk first. Papa said that his quirk could be passed down. Once it's no longer with him, she will give him the chance to be in his prime for a bit because that would be amazing honestly. Why are you all looking at me? Koda-kun asked with a scowl on his face, bringing her out of her happy thoughts. Because you killed lots of people, Koda-kun. Eri pouted at her big brother, not happy about them at fact, but she still loved him, and he winced at her words. Fine, I won't hurt anyone. Unless they attack us first, then they are fair game. Koda-kun crossed his arms and looked away. With that, Grandpagiri came and opened a warp gate for them to go through. She was going to U.A. The U.A. The place where the Recovery Girl works. She was so excited. She walked with her mama and siblings to Grandpagiri's portal and stepped forward and let the dark mist envelop her. She wasn't scared. Grandpagiri never hurts her. He was super nice. The group of 5 found themselves in front of U.Hi's large gates. It was definitely huge like Ochako described them. Man, I always dreamed of coming here, but not this way. Oh well, no big deal. Melissa shrugged her shoulders as they walked. Wow. It's so big. Mama. Guys, look. U.A is so big. Eri said with her eyes shining brightly and a big smile on her face. Everyone smiled at Eri's enthusiasm and nodded their heads at her words. Yeah, and you will be studying there to be a great super doctor. Koda said with a smile as he patted the little unicorn's shoulder encouragingly. Eri beamed at Koda and nodded. Thank you, Koda-kun. But they are called recovery heroes, not super doctors. Eri corrected helpfully. Mahoro giggled at that. Oh, he knows. He calls them that so he can tolerate the idea of you being one. He doesn't like heroes, you know. Mahoro said, punching Koda playfully on the arm. Yes, but not all heroes are jerks. There are good ones. Like all rescue, recovery and underground heroes, as well as some lame light heroes. Only some. Katsuma added, and Koda sighed in defeat. Whatever. If Eri-chan wants to be a heroine, then I will do all I can to help. Koda declared confidently, and Eri smiled. Thank you, big brother. Eri smiled happily as she and her siblings followed Melissa. They reached the gate and Melissa pressed on the intercom system of the gate. Hello? How can we help you? The sound of a woman asked gently and cheerfully. Oh, hello. We are here an appointment. Melissa Shield and the Shigaraki siblings? Melissa explained with a smile. There was a pause for few seconds until the gates opened and someone came to them quickly to welcome them. Eri's eyes sparkled as she recognized the new arrival as she squealed. In a split second, Eri was in front of them with her notebook open on their page with a pen. Oh my god, it's the Prohira Midnight Sornasi to Mia to can you sign my notebook please? Eri said quickly as she held the notebook and pen to the heroine. Midnight blinked before looking at the little unicorns apologetically with a smile and sweat drop as she spoke. Sorry darling, can you repeat that? I think you left in the dust there. Midnight said apologetically, and she has no idea what the little girl said. Eri blinked before smiling even more brightly. Oh, I said that you are the pro hero Midnight and that it's so nice to meet you. Eri waved her pen at Midnight. Can I get an autograph, ma'am? Please? Eri asked hopefully. Namiri Kiyama saw a lot of cute things and kids in her life. That wasn't new. But they all pale in comparison to what this angel represented. She was the definition of innocence, honestly. So with a smile, Midnight grabbed the notebook and pen, then proceeded to sign the notebook for the little girl. And she noticed the draws and writings of her quirks, her costume, support items and strengths along with weaknesses, and thought on how to improve in general. You wrote this, darling? Namiri asked with a smile, trying carefully to not sound worried because this was too good for a 6-year-old. Eri nodded vigorously with her eyes sparkling in joy. Yes, ma'am. I asked Papa to teach me quirk analysis so when I am one I can not only heal heroes but give advices. Eri said innocently, and in the background Melissa and the kids chuckled. I see. Well, looking forward to work with you, darling. Midnight said with a smile, then Melissa walked to them quickly. Alright, I am here for an important discussion with the rat and his inner circle. I am Lord Karma's representative and have crucial and extremely valuable information. So if you are the one touring the kids, can I go to the principal's office? Melissa spoke to Midnight. The heroine looked distrustful, which was fair. Melissa was a SS-ranked villain, a country-recognized supervillain, and she caused a lot of destruction and defeated the symbol of peace, even if he was extremely exhausted in fair fight. It is natural for the woman to distrust her. In fact, Melissa would be disappointed if she was very friendly. Eraserhead is waiting for you in the main building to get you into the meeting room, Midnight explained, then gave a baffled look to the mad scientist. Alright, now seriously, what the hell are you guys discussing? Why is everyone Nedzu trusts and works with in there? And why is the majority of the top 10 heroes in there? Midnight asked in confusion. Melissa sighed. Well, if you must know. My lord is trying to help you. A to not be sunk down to kingdom come by what's coming, because that would mess up his long-term goals and further complicate the already complicated chess game, his words not mine, and want that type of headache. He doesn't want the QLF or MLA to take over, or the CRC either. He also is reasonably worried about the HPSC and LED trying to something nefarious. So since right now U.A is an asset to him, he is going to help it stay strong. Happy? Melissa explained with a sigh, like this was giving her a headache. Midnight could relate. Midnight blinked, then gaped. They were an asset. Nedzu was someone's pawn? She knew this Karma kid was a genius and a monster-level mastermind, Nitai's words not hers, and a master tactician that Nedzu found as a challenger and just very powerful. He was in an arm lock with All Might for F's sake. But does his power and control mean he is now powerful enough that he is seeing U.A as a whole, as a part of his chessboard rather than his opposite players? Were they chess pieces to him? If you are done having existential crisis about dad owning you guys, can we get moving? Eri-chan came for a tour, and even though I was literally dragged along, I don't want to stay standing in one place for too long either. Kota called out to the heroine, snapping her out of her trance. Midnight blinked before nodding at the kids with a smile. Deciding she wasn't paid enough to deal with whatever this is about or even ask, Midnight smiled at the little kids and nodded. Alright. I'm going to show you around, then I will escort you to oversee the training of 2 hero classes. How does that sound? Midnight asked with a smile. Eri beamed happily and nodded vigorously. Can we see Recovery Girl too? I am a big fan of hers. Eri asked innocently with a big smile, unleashing the understatement of the century. Of course. Midnight smiled happily as she left the kids away. Melissa walked to the main building, and true to Midnight's word, Eraserhead's waiting for her. Eraserhead escorted Melissa as she is cordially invited to Nedzu's special meeting room for the important talk. The subject of the day, Overhaul and the quirk-suppressing bullets. That was going to be a long talk, and she hoped she wouldn't be arrested by the end of it. They arrived last in the succession. Detective Tsukachi, Nedzu, Sir Night-Eye and All Might in still skeletal form are there already, along with the top 10 heroes. Most of them, Yoroi, Wash and Endeavor, aren't there, are also there. Her dad was also there. She hasn't seen him for a while. Was he coming to U.A? Ugh, she would bet Deku had something to do with it. He was such meddler sometimes. Melissa? Her dad started on the verge of crying. She wasn't ready for this. Their conversation was a mess. She yelled at him, cuss it. All lot. Said stuff he earned it technically that she wasn't proud of. And now they meet again. When she is a SS-ranked villain with enough crimes under her belt for a one-way trip to Tartarus. Yeah, she got her own things to be ashamed of now. But she doesn't regret it. She swore to follow Deku to the end. To build a new world. Better world. A world of equality where everyone can live without fear of how were they born. Whether it was being a mutant, someone with a villainous quirk, or quirkless. Dad. Melissa said calmly. We can do this later. I am on business now. And this is something that couldn't wait. How about I give you a place to meet later? Both of us alone? Melissa offered, somewhat hopeful she wouldn't be swarmed by the top 10. Deku would storm in and probably level Tartarus to break her out of there if she was caught, and cause the same level of death like the HPSC. That sounds reasonable enough, I guess. Her dad says with a weak smile. Everyone is present. Nedzu announced for all to hear. I believe that we can start, Miss Shield? The infamous inventor and the supervillain nodded her head at that. All right. Melissa started. So I got this information when Team's Terror raided the Shai Hisaikai hideout after I implanted the bombs and beat Kendo Rappa and Hikiji Tingai. She noticed her dad flinch at the mention of her doing those things. It was gonna suck for him from now on, it seems. And I managed to analyze most of its contents with the help of... I believe you know him as the one making Deku's monsters? Let's call him Dr. Evil because it fits. Everyone seemed to flinch at the reminder of Deku's army. Not that she blamed them. The Nomus were terrifying. Do you work on creating those things? Her dad asked. He looks afraid of the answer. No, he looked terrified. Her uncle looked equally terrified too. No, I am very uncomfortable with those things, but I work on the quirk studies for Deku. Creating copies of quirks he prefers, modifying weak quirks into stronger versions, making some fused quirk versions. Things like that. I find my job to be quite fascinating, honestly. And very rewarding if you consider unlocking the secrets of quirk studies a reward. Melissa answered truthfully. They looked at Tsukachi for confirmation and he nodded his head in confirmation. She wanted to feel insulted, but she was technically and practically a villain. A supervillain, in fact. The supervillain takes a deep breath. We both have one thing to say. You owe us a lot of things for stomaching this research. Melissa said, disgusted. What do you mean? Sir Night Eye seems obviously shocked by her words. Not that she blamed him. The author of the files I am going to explain. The one who did the research. Overhaul. Melissa growled. That bastard deserves at least 2 separate Nobel Prizes and several consecutive life sentences. Maybe actually check that. Definitely adding an eternity in hell. Oh dear? Nedzu said in the silence. So, it's bad? All Might asks carefully. Bad? Bad. Melissa is outraged by the word. Uncle, me and Dr. Evil haven't slept for 5 days straight when we first got this goddamn hard drive. And in the end we only slept after that because Deku slipped sleeper pills into our drinks. That's how much it was a mess. Melissa groaned. So, you are saying that it was hard to understand his research? Best Jeanist summarized. Was that because he was ahead of you in studies, or because of his notes being too messy? Ed Shot is as sharp as ever. And an excellent investigator too. The second's option. Melissa said, thankful someone was following her, before making a loud tired sigh full of exasperation. It's regrettable that a mind such as his didn't lead him to the island where he could use his brilliance to help the world. But considering the things he did for his research, it was probably for the best. I probably would have murdered him even without being a villain. So do we start speaking about the research? That would be best, Miss Shield. Nedzu is polite as ever. Even if the current subject is a sore subject for him. It's clear to you all that Overhaul worked his damn hardest on creating a drug capable of rendering someone permanently quirkless. Melissa started earning nods from everyone in the room. That alone is pretty revolutionary. There are millions of people out there suffering from quirks that are simply a disability or way too dangerous to them. David said with a smile. Melissa seemed torn at his words. But the most important part is the fact that to achieve this goal, Overhaul practically rewrote our entire knowledge of the biological side of quirks. Melissa sighed heavily as she rubbed her temple. She paused for a while as if trying to organize his thoughts. She is on the verge of punching someone, that much is obvious. Almost everyone in the room never met her, but it's obvious the violence thing is quite out of character for her. They also could tell that David Shield was the example of a naive scientist. The quirk-erasing drug would be used to deal with such cases. But if the hero's knowledge of the world is in any way correct, it would be merely an afterthought of much worse applications. Applications that even someone like Karma refused to do. While the HPSC and its president were funding such project. Okay, so I'll try to quickly summarize what he did without the boring non-useful details. Melissa said before grabbing a projection disc like the U.A acceptance letters. We always knew that quirks are based on a mix of biology and, to say in the simplest terms, a manipulation of some form of energy. Things such as quirk-suppressing cuffs and many support items are based basically on distorting, suppressing or altering such energy fields. Still following me? Melissa asked around, getting everyone to frown at her. I feels very insulted right now. It wasn't that complicated for us to follow? Maruko deadpanned. Are you used to talking to way less intelligent people? Best Jeanist asked. Yeah. Hawk said with a sweat drop. Can you take slower? The winged hero asked and everyone looked at him bewildered. Whatever. Quirks have 2 sides, biological and energy. Support items work on dealing with this energy and quirk-suppressing cuffs on stopping it. Melissa repeated and Hawks gave a thumbs up. Well, that's mostly because our ability to access the biological side of quirks is next to none. Melissa explained with frown. In other circumstances she would love to make such a lecture, but the subject is making her sick. Our knowledge of conventional genetics reached the level when we can fix many genetic disorders through gene therapies, but when it comes to quirk genetics we are on the level of Mendelian inheritance diagrams. Things simply refuse to cooperate. Other people around the world failed even when it came to locating any type of genetic markers that would separate quirkless from the quirked, which is why the quirkless diagnosis tends to be based on external characteristics such as the toe joint. Melissa paused before smiling apologetically. The Dr. Evil and All for One both no longer had hat problem like. I'm not sure. 135 years ago? The Dr. Evil was pretty ferocious with his research but stuck to some morals unlike Overhaul. That surprised everyone. This is also why there is nothing capable of truly altering one's quirk. Melissa explained further. What about the trigger? Sir Knight I asks for them all. It works differently. Melissa shrugged. Bodies of the quirked individuals possess certain limiters on their own strength. For example, humans use only a fraction of the full potential of their muscles, as going beyond a certain level threatens to damage them. Trigger essentially lifts such inborn limiters, which influences both their quirk strength and natural strength to a certain degree. It doesn't amplify the quirk itself. Melissa explained the difference as she pointed at the projection disc and picks. Are you saying that Overhaul managed to crack that barrier? Netsu asked. He is visibly distraught, probably due to his past as a lab rat, if Melissa's suspicions are correct. Poor Tiger Cole. Yes, he did. Melissa spat. There is silence in the room. Ironically enough, he didn't actually figure out any big secret. No unified biological quirk theory or something like that in the files. He simply approached the issue from a completely different angle and have used an overwhelming amount of unethical human experimentation to brute force crack the blockade. Melissa said, looking sick. Now that is something. I feel I am not going to like how he did that, Maruko said with a scowl. Overhaul speculated that the quirk factor of a quirked individuals can be summarized to be the maximum power level their body can handle. Melissa continues the lecture, oblivious to their growing confusion. All Might looked lost, Hawks and Crust too. In other words, imagine the body to be a martial artist. In this comparison, the quirk factor is a body while quirks are the martial art being learned. They can improve in effectiveness and efficiency, typically through experience, but they will eventually reach their maximum level. Another pause. This time to drink some water. The silence in the room is deafening. Overhaul made a theory that quirk awakenings, which is the situations when someone's quirk instantly evolves into a stronger form, is a result of a quirk reaching its maximum possible power level while taking only a fraction of the individual's quirk factor. Plus extreme stress and quirk exhaustion. Melissa started up where she left and continued the lecture. Oblivious to some people being lost. It's a bit primitive and not fully reliable, but it appears that Overhaul actually designed a certain form of blood test that can measure the estimated strength of the quirk factor and how much of it is occupied. We confirmed it works. There is a chance that we'll be able to estimate one's chance of quirk awakening. So now we could start testing various medications to see if they can influence the quirk factor or quirk strength reliably. And that's not the most shocking thing we found. Oh great. Now diet supplements for quirks will be a thing. Joy. Most of the people in the room are overwhelmed. Only David Shield looks amazed by this. I think I'm a bit afraid to ask, but what is it? All Might looks like he isn't sure if Melissa was here for QSB and QEB anymore. Overhaul managed to find a way to trick the quirk factor into accepting foreign data into its unoccupied space. Melissa said. Everyone realized what this meant and paled in horror. Another artificial all-for-one. This is actually the basis on which he tried to construct his quirk erasure drug. However, this technology has an absolutely limitless potential outside of it, that he mostly ignored. Melissa rolled her eyes. Imagine a drug that allows you to use someone else's emitter quirk for a limited amount of time. Or, to save the quirk factor space, only a fraction of a quirk. For example, imagine a drug that grants you Endeavor's heat resistance for a few hours. Melissa sighed. Oh my god, this revolutionary. Hell, at some point down the line we might actually learn how to transplant quirks between individuals or alter the way their abilities work. With this technology, the sky's the limit. David said, excited. At least someone is happy. What can you tell me about the quirk erasure drug, Miss Shield? Netsu asked. The heroes are glad that the talk returns to the fields that are actually useful for their job. We know that Overhaul was able to create the drug, but failed to mass produce it before the Shai Hisaikai was dismantled. Yes, that is correct. David nods. This is actually an example of such a quirk-based drug. It was created from the blood of a girl that we all. The drug installs an inferior copy of her quirk to the victim's quirk factor, one that activates automatically and unmakes itself and the quirk factor as a whole. This is, from the scientific point of view, absolutely and stunningly brilliant. Melissa said the praise like it was poison on her tongue. Ugh, that is just inhumane. Hawks groaned. And very unfashionable. Best Genus stated. And psychotic? Maruko scoffed. And disgustingly brilliant? Dave admitted regretfully. In a hypothetical scenario in which someone uses such a drug against a hero, are you capable of producing an antidote? Nedzu asked the most important question. No one in the room wanted to imagine the result of a QLF sniper hitting All Might with such a bullet. The image is still fresh how Karma, who battled the top 10 heroes and was winning, was rendered powerless by the witch. Well, we are not sure. Melissa seems genuinely uncertain. Overhaul's notes are partially deranged and far from organized. If not for the fact that the biological and genetic bits make perfect sense, we'd have discounted them as a waste of time and the work of a madman. They show us the way, but they'll require a lot of work to catch up to him and work out all uncertainties. Plus, of course, there is also the fact that I'm not willing to throw ethics through the window. David sighs loudly. I estimate from what you are telling me that if we really rush it through an island, we can create an antidote to the quirk erasure drug within 5 to 15 years? Depends on whether I will have access to the girl's blood and quirk erasure drug for testing. 2 to 3 years if we talk about making the antidote for someone under the table instead of making it an official thing. Registering medicines created under the basis of a completely new scientific paradigm is going to be a nightmare. Much smaller nightmare than the fact that Overhaul was now working with the QLF. They don't even want to think of the implications. Even quirk-suppressing bullets, if mass-produced, are a game-changer. Something to tilt the balance in QLF's favor. Well, the thing is, that got everyone's attention. We found the formula, we tested it, and we will give you the formula instead of years if work for you. Melissa trailed off. Let me guess. Night I spoke. Your leader has his price? Melissa nodded. If you refuse, we will still give you one antidote for All Might just in case, but if you want the formula you will have to pay, my lord. Melissa shrugged. And what is that guy's price? Maruko asked with a huff. One free spot reserved for Eri-chan in the U.A Hero course for starters. Melissa declared. That definitely startled everyone. Therapy sessions for some members that Deku thinks need it, some of them are forced with Hound Dog. Melissa continued. Everyone stared at her in disbelief. As well as no more interventions with Deku's crusades on the Elite Four or HPSC or LED. Melissa looked around. Deal? The scientist asked. Deal? Nedza sighed. Wow, that was something. They aren't sure if this was a good or bad price. Most of these stuff are out of the blue. Why can't Karma be a normal type supervillain and ask for money and favors? The first place they went to visit was the infirmary, where Recovery Girl works, and well, Eri was bouncing on her steps all the way along, with a big smile and sparkling eyes as she hummed to herself cheerfully. The sight was enough to make the self-proclaimed Eri squad smile happily, and Midnight just cooed. Midnight really loved kids. She didn't find true love to have children yet, and she is not interested in getting one randomly, unlike what people think. She has standards, so she indulged her motherly part by making small talk with the kids. And thankfully the kids decided to indulge her. So, you want to be a hero, little unicorn? Midnight asked with a smile. Yes. My quirk could save so many people, and I want to do just that. I want to heal at least 1 million people by the time I die. I want to make the world a better place just like Papa. Eri scratched her chin at the last part with a frown. But maybe in a more heroic and less murderous way. I get why he does what he does. There are lots of bad people that the law can't punish, so he does it himself. But I want to save lives. Heal diseases and restore lost limbs and organs, and do all that with a big smile on my face, Eri said happily. Midnight looked surprised at that, then smiled warmly. Aren't you an angel? I can't wait to see what you can do with your quirk. I hope your dreams come true, Midnight said as she patted the girl on the head. Then they reached the Recovery Girl infirmary. The old lady was scolding a pair of teens that looked beaten up. A boy with silver spiky hair and a boy with green skin that looked like a bug. The silver-haired boy had multiple slashes around his body, while the big kid looked like he went to a fist fight with steel bat. You guys look like shit. Kota snickered seeing the two beaten-up guys being scolded by the old lady. The three in the infirmary looked at the new arrivals with surprise until the bug guy sneered at Kota, irritated. What the F did you say, you little shit? Kamakiri snapped angrily. Kota scoffed. I said, like, shit. Are you deaf? Are retarded or something? Kota rolled his eyes carelessly. Kota-kun. Be nice. And stop the bad words. Eri said with an angry pout, and Kata groaned. Fine. I am being good. Kata said as he went and sit on a chair. With hat settled, Mahoro snickered. It's just 9 and a bit in the morning. How did you get so beaten up? The little girl giggled, making Recovery Girl huff in irritation. Tell me about it, the old lady said in annoyance. You kids need to stop being reckless, especially that the festival is tomorrow. Do you want to be forbidden from participating? Recovery Girl asked, and the two winced. Sorry. We just took the training a bit too far. Tetsu said, embarrassed. And we kinda enjoyed the fight, we didn't want to stop. Kamakiri added. Well, I can relate. My uncles kind of enjoy fighting too. A bit too much that dad has to heal them. Katsuma nodded his head. The two teens looked at the kids for a few seconds with their eyes squinted. Then they had a moment of realization before their faces paled in horror. What are the kids of the number one villain doing here? Kamakiri asked quietly, but Eri heard weary as she walked to them. Oh. Papa asked the principal Nedzu to give me a tour in this school because I want to study here when I am older. And I was told that Papa is very convincing. Eri said innocently. More like terrifying. He probably threatened to attack the school like the HPSC HQ, both teens thought with a gulp. And why do you want a tour, little girl? Tetsu asked with a nervous chuckle. Eri, still oblivious to their fear, beamed happily. I want to be a recovery hero and save others. And heal other people's injuries. Eri said before looking at them worried. You two don't look great, do you want me to heal you? It doesn't hurt, I promise. Eri offered with a big smile. Part of them wanted to refuse. She was daughter of the worst villain in the country. He punched All Might through a wall. He crushed Endeavor. Twice. He fought the top 10 heroes single-handedly and fought Maruko quirkless and could keep up. But then the look on her face. That smile, that damn innocent smile. Was cuteness a quirk? Because they would bet that they are under some class 6 quirk right now. And the eyes. Bright and innocent. What would happen if she cried? It. Sure thing. They both said. What the hell could a 6-year-old do anyways? Eri beamed as she touched them both. Recovery Girl had half a mind to stop the girl, but she stayed silent. The unicorn's horn started glowing with golden energy, and few seconds later the two went back to new. The two inspected themselves for a bit before looking at Eri in shock as she smiled at them cheerfully. Wow. Was all the two could say. I know. My sister kicks ass. Kota said smugly. I don't like fighting, Kota-kun. I hate violence. Eri pouted. It's a figure of speech, Eri-chan. It means you're amazing. Mahoro giggled slightly. With that settled and the two healed, Eri turned to the old lady's office. And teleported besides her with her notebook already open in her page. Omigo duer recovery girlet sanya nordamidi a madame please Simon T buki warmiadla wanna balike yaosomek? Eri said quickly, confusing everyone. She said in normal speed of speech, oh my god, you are recovery girl, it's an honor to meet you, madam. Please sign my notebook, you are my idol and I want to be like you so much, if I got it right. Katsuma said like living translator. That got everyone to sweat drop. The old lady blinked as she looked at the excited child before smiling. Of course, dearie. Happy to be an inspiration to you. Recovery Girl said with a smile as she took the notebook. When Nedzu and Aizawa told her that they want her to autograph a doctor coat for the daughter of Deku freaking Shigaraki aka Karma, she thought of it as some form of joke, but nope. Apparently the girl has a class 6 healing quirk and idolized her. The thought of someone out there, especially if their father is so villainous, seeing a pacifist like her as an idol was very heartwarming to her. Hopefully this little girl will grow up to deal with other people's stupidity and recklessness. As Recovery Girl gave Eri the signed notebook back, the little girl looked at the autograph with joy and squealed happily. Thank you so much, ma'am. I will treasure this forever. Eri declared, hugging the notebook. Well, if that's all, we are leaving. Tetsu said, going to the door. Not so quickly. Recovery Girl started stopping the two. Oh no, another lecture. You guys were very reckless getting that hurt at the early morning. Don't you have self-preservation? How can you be heroes and keep others safe if you can't keep yourselves safe? I get the whole heroes risk their lives, but you shouldn't treat injuries that carelessly. You could seriously get a career-ending injury before you even graduate. You have to learn how to not take unnecessary risks and stay safe if you want to live long enough for retirement. Eri was shocking, the one doing the scolding on the two, wiggling her index finger like a disappointed mother. The two students just looked down in shame as a 6-year-old girl was lecturing them on safety and security in healthcare. 10 minutes later. Do you want to install this reckless into your interns in the future? Eri asked, and the two shook their head in denial. Then go to class and think of what you did wrong and how to be better heroes and hopefully mentors in the future and how to survive long enough for that in such a dangerous career. Eri instructed sternly. The kids were gaping like fish at what just happened. Midnight looked shocked and bewildered, and the old heroine looked ready to burst into tears. Yes, ma'am. Both teens said as they walked out the door. Midnight opened the door for them with a look full of sympathy. Damn, a 6-year-old ripped them a new one. After the two left, Kota turned to his siblings and whispered quietly. Remind me to never give her a reason to scold me. That was brutal, Kota said terrified. The twins nodded vigorously. A disappointed Eri-chan is a scary Eri-chan. She totally ripped them a new one, Mahoro said with sweat drop. Good job dearie, you want to stay? My workload is surprisingly large so I might let you help if you are up for it. The old lady offered and Eri started bouncing. Yes please. I would be happy. Eri said as recovery girl gave the little girl her own doctor coat to wear. Well I guess then you three would do the tour around the training grounds? Midnight clapped her hands together. Nedza said he would like you to fight some of the students. The R-rated heroine said with a devious smile. Now you are speaking my language, Kota said grinning deviously. With that the woman and 3 kids went to the door just for it open revealing a second-year student in his hero costume with his arms suffering 2nd and 3rd degree burns. The 3 kids winced realizing what was coming and braved themselves. Oh my goodness. The 2 doctors exclaimed in unison. Went too far in training? The student said lamely. Yup. I'm so getting out of here. Katsuma said bolting out of the door followed by his siblings and Midnight. Few seconds later they could hear the scolding and winced in sympathy. They unleashed a monster on the world. New besties. During tour lunchtime. Katsuma looked around in surprise as they walked through the place. Wow, so this is the cafeteria. It's pretty big. Everything in this school is big, Mahoro said giggling to herself. A general education students looked at the 4 kids and paled in horror recognizing them instantly. Wait, are those who I think they are? A second-year hero student gulped as his instinct chose the flight instead of fight response. Crap, it is duck and cover, he said hiding under the table. Katsuma looked around confused while Kota grinned. Why are they hiding? The boy asked in confusion. Mahoro puffed her chest and looked up in pride. Why wouldn't they? After all they know they stand no chance against the mighty knights and Princess of Darkness and Angel of Recovery, Mahoro declared dramatically. Kota blinked before looking at the tables with the 1A students. Hey, I recognize them, I easily defeated them at the USJ, Kota said with a smirk as he chuckled causing Kirishima, Kaminari, Sato and Shoji to wince. Eri looked at her brother with pout. Kota-kun, just because they are weak it doesn't mean you should say it out loud. Especially when they are in earshot. The white-haired healer scolded. Tsuyu looked at the kids as they passed by her. Ouch, that hurt deeper than you could imagine, rib bit, especially since it's all true. Kota and Mahoro shrugged at that while Eri and Katsuma apologized. Nijire looked at the kids from her table and before her boyfriend and her other best friend could stop her she flew to the kids and zoomed to Eri with a bright smile. Oh my god, you're so cute. Who are you? Why do you have a horn? What's your quirk? Are you a unicorn? Can you shoot light? Can you fly? Why are dressed like a doctor? Are you doctor? Do you have a healing quirk? Nijire kept firing questions at light speed and the 3 kids paled in horror at what was coming. Eri just beamed as she grabbed her notebook. You're pretty too. Why did you just fly? How do you fly? What's your name? How does your quirk work? Is it energy-based? It was golden, so is it sunlight? Or do you produce it? Your hair is so long. Can you shoot your energy? Can you let other people use it? What are your limits? Wait, do you even have them? Eri kept asking quickly, much to the shock and horror of one Mirio Togata and Tamaki Yamajiki, who realized that Nijire just found her long-lost little sister. On the corner, one Shoyuta Aizawa wanted to crawl into a hole in the earth and never come out from the incoming headache. Ryukyu, who was in the meeting, thought of getting some lunch and paled at what she saw. Oh boy. Later. Deku was doing some paperwork in his office. Being a criminal mastermind doesn't save you from the paperwork of your legal fronts, unfortunately. Her wondered how his kids were doing. Hopefully Eri-chan is happy with today. She was practically giddy for this. Then his phone vibrated and her picked. Hello? Deku asked confused. What have you done? Do you have any idea of the disaster you unleashed? Ryukyu sounded from the other end. Deku just looked confused. Huh? What? Deku asked confused. Ryukyu sighed loudly and tiredly. Your daughter and my intern are now best friends. You're hyperactive, super curious, white-haired one, Ryukyu explained and could tell she pinching the bridge of her nose. Deku's eyes widened at that as his face paled. Oh dear God. That's not good, the mastermind commented. Ryukyu just groaned at that. Ugh, you owe me a drink, Deku. This is as bad as Rumi dating your brother, the dragon woman said exasperated. Deku just sighed and slumped in his chair. I really do. Same place? Ryukyu sighed. Yeah. You mind if I bring Eraserhead? He looks like he wants to die, Ryukyu asked. Deku nodded. Of course. I will pay, Deku assured. At least Eri is happy. In a hypothetical scenario in which someone uses such a drug against a hero, are you capable of producing an antidote? Nezu asked the most important question. No one in the room wanted to imagine the result of a QLF sniper hitting All Might with such a bullet. The image is still fresh how Karma, who battled the top 10 heroes and was winning, was rendered powerless by the witch. If they could do that to all heroes, they could actually take over everything. Well, hypothetically speaking, we are not 100% sure. Melissa seems genuinely uncertain. Overhaul's notes are partially deranged and far from organized. If not for the fact that the biological and genetic bits making perfect sense, we'd have discounted them as a waste of time and the work of a madman. They will show you the way, but they'll require a lot of work to catch up to him and work out all uncertainties. Plus, of course, there is also the fact that I wasn't willing to throw ethics through the window. Melissa added with conviction. Even Garaki said that Overhaul went too far. So after we give you the hard drive, I am not sure how long it would take you guys to be able to make an antidote from this stuff. Overhaul was the complete opposite of organized, and he wasn't very clear on his discoveries either. Melissa sighed, rubbing her temple. If it weren't for how dangerous this research was, she and Garaki would have set it on fire just because of how messy it was. It got them an undescribable headache. The 2-century-old evil doctor used corpses for experiments, and even though it wasn't cool, it was better than a living child that Overhaul killed more times than you could count and bled dry dozens of times. David sighed loudly after he took the hard drive and looked through the contents for some time. I estimate from what you were telling me in this messy notes that... David sighed loudly. That? Eraserhead asked calmly. That if we really rush it through an island, we can create an antidote to the quirk erasure drug within 5 to 15 years? Everyone winced at that amount of time. Japan would rather be under Karma's mercy or the LED and HPSC president or burning pile of ash. Depends on whether I will have access to the girl's bludent quirk erasure drug for testing. 2 to 3 years if we talk about making the antidote for someone under the table instead of making it an official thing. Registering medicines created under the basis of a completely new scientific paradigm is going to be a nightmare. David groaned loudly. Much smaller nightmare than the fact that Overhaul was now working with the QLF. They don't even want to think of the implications. Even quirk-suppressing bullets, if mass-produced, are a game-changer. Something to tilt the balance in QLF's favor. I am sorry, but Aries Bloody's a no-go. She suffered enough because it, and I am not letting her suffer for it again. Plus, I am pretty sure Deku wouldn't be happy with the idea of you using Eri to make your own experiments either. Melissa spoke. Shit. Maruko said with a scowl. This is bad. All Might sighed. But. Melissa started. That got everyone to perk up slightly. But. Nedza repeated hopefully. Well, the thing is, that got everyone's full attention as they looked at her expectingly. We found the formula, we tested it, and we will give you said formula instead of years of work for you and waste of time and resources, and the risk of you all falling victim in the meantime. But Melissa trailed off with a smirk. Let me guess. Knight, I spoke for them all while cleaning his glasses. Your leader has his price for this formula? Melissa nodded her head in confirmation. If you refuse, we will still give you one antidote for All Might just in case, but if you want the formula to mass produce it for everyone, you will have to pay, my lord. And full price. Melissa shrugged. And what is that guy's price? Maruko asked with a huff. One free spot reserved for Eri-chan in the U.A Hero course for starters. Melissa declared. That definitely startled everyone. Therapy sessions for some members that Deku thinks need it, some of them are forced with Hound Dog. Melissa continued. Everyone stared at her in disbelief. As well as no more interventions with Deku's crusades on the Elite Four or HPSC or LED. Melissa looked around. Deal? The scientist asked around expectingly. Deal? Nedza sighed. While that was something. They aren't sure if this was a good or bad price. Most of these stuff are out of the blue. Why can't Karma be a normal type supervillain and ask for money and favors? Well, great. I was worried that even though my lord tried to make reasonable enough, you wouldn't accept. It would be too much trouble to call him for negotiations and all that. Especially that he is very busy, Melissa said with a sigh of relief. That got everyone to pause. And why is he invested in helping us so much? Ryukyu asked with a frown. Melissa sighed at that and rubbed her temple with her thumb and index finger. Well, if you must know. My lord is trying to help you. A to not be sunk down to kingdom come by what's coming, QLF are getting a game-changing weapons, and the MLA is preparing for something big. Plus the government can't be trusted to not backstab you guys the first chance they get, Because that would mess up his long-term goals and further complicate the already complicated chess games. His words not mine, and he doesn't want that type of headache. He doesn't want the QLF or the MLA to take over, or the CRC either. He also is reasonably worried about the HPSC and LED trying to something nefarious while they have been quiet. So since right now U.A is an important asset to him, he is going to help it stay strong. Happy? Melissa explained with a sigh, like this was giving her a headache. Eraserhead could relate. Everyone blinked, then gaped. They were an asset. Nezu was someone's pawn? They knew this Karma Kid was a genius and a monster-level mastermind, Nitai's words, and a master tactician that Nezu found as a challenger and just very powerful. He was in an arm lock with All Might for F's sake. But does his power and control mean he is now powerful enough that he is seeing U.A as a whole, as a part of his chessboard rather than his opposite players? Were they chess pieces to him? Nezu was as insulted as he was amazed by this revelations. It was somewhat expected, but it was still like salt on the wound. He was supposed to be the smartest being alive, but he was being played by a kid. It definitely hurt his pride. Well, thank you, Miss Shield. We will discuss this further privately later, Nezu said politely, and Melissa nodded her head. The team terror. Mad Scientist entered the group chat. Mad Scientist, is anyone here? Coffee or Death, Purge the Fakes, Gentle Criminal, Gentle Hacker, and Liveriful entered the group chat. Coffee or Death. I am always on the internet. It is kind of my default safe haven. Full of cats and funny memes. Purge the fakes. Get a life, kid. You spend most of your day on that phone. What's with kids these days? Coffee or Death, says the one whose life is basically stabbing idiots in alleyways and monologuing like Lex Luthor from Superman. Liveriful, at least he is more social, kid. That says something about you, I am afraid. Krusty Lips is more social. And he is a social. Gentle Criminal. Well, no need to take this verbal battle too far. Let's just grab a cup of tea and talk it over. Gentle Hacker. Oh, Gentle, you are so wise. The boss has entered the group chat. The boss, well. At Mad Scientist? How did it go from your end? Did you get the U.A to cooperate? Mad Scientist, kinda. You got my dad to practically salivate over that hard drive. Also, they are so grateful for the antidote formula. And Dad is super interested in the Overhaul research. God, I never knew he was a naive scientist. Purge the fakes. At least that proves he is a good person with good intentions to the world and next generations. Mad Scientist, thanks at Purge the Fakes. I appreciate it. The boss, anything else to report? Mad Scientist, they say if you want something legal, of course, from my island, they would happy to deliver. Charge free as well. The boss, well, that's definitely gonna come in handy in the future. I will keep it in mind. Purge the Fakes, and what was their stand on you? Having to negotiate with an SS-ranked villain? Mad Scientist, as you would expect. Super unhappy, but if they had to choose between us and the Elite Four and the Gov, we are a much better option. Coffee or Death. That's technically messed up since we are the worst here and they would choose us over the Gov. Liveriful, well, that's better than the Witch and the Tyrant. Don't you think it? Coffee or Death? Coffee or Death, oh crap, you're right. Gentle Criminal, that is very shameful, honestly. To think that the good guys are stuck with superiors more horrible than their very enemies is sad, honestly. Gentle Hacker, yes, Gentle. That very sad and heartbreaking. The boss, well, that why I am here. To get rid of such atrocious acts and durst in this country. To clean it up and renovate it into a much better place. Coffee or Death, and I am here to follow you all the way. Purge the Fakes, same. Liveriful, we got your back, Chief. Gentle Criminal, count me in as well at the boss, Kuin. I will help you build the bright future you promised us. Gentle Hacker, same here. The boss, thanks everyone. A lot. The boss, on other note. How is everything going with the kids? Posidone, Echidna, and Titan entered the group chat. Posidone, well, I am seriously getting bored in here. The place is so goddamn huge and has lots of facilities. Posidone, seriously, where the hell does that rat get his funding? This place looks as expensive as Island. Titan, if I have to guess. He is Thane's smartest being alive, lol, besides Dad, so he probably has lots and lots of investments that paid off. And Titan, I am like 90% sure he threatened world leaders into funding the school. Echidna, LMAO, that Rat King is something else. And we should build ourselves a castle like this, Daddy. The King of the Underworld and the Princess of Darkness need a huge castle to live in. Coffee or Death, well, she definitely got your theatrics. The boss, Wires and I so proud of her. The boss, how's Eri doing, by the way? Titan, she kinda hit it off with her .g instantly. She stick her into the infirmary and is healing people with the old lady. Posidone, and she seems to be a natural at scolding people for getting hurt. Like she is scary with her lectures. Purge the fakes. Now you are exaggerating, night boy. Echidna. She scolded two teens who beat each other up too badly for 10 minutes, and she literally stripped them from their pride and dignity like a scolding mom, even though they are almost 3 times her age. Titan. That was brutal. Gentle criminal. Well, at least she is living her dream. Sweat drop. Gentle hacker. Oh, come on, guys. This Eri-chan. The little angel. She is not scary. Echidna sent in video. Coffee or death. Coffee or death. Holy shit. Purge the fakes. I take it back. That's scary. Mad scientist. Man, I missed the reality show of a lifetime. Pity, really. The boss. I can only say that. I'm so happy and proud right now it can't be described. Gentle criminal. I guess we will have to be careful lest we suffer a long-suffering lecture. Gentle hacker. Happy to be the one on the chair now. Live riffle. Well, I guess the old lady found her successor. Titan. Yeah. That. R.G is kinda asking to make Eri-chan her actually apprentice. Echidna. And is asking if she could be transported for extremely dire situations. Posidone. She with her newfound control over her quirk left a huge impression. The boss. I can discuss that with Nedza later, so don't worry about it. Titan. And what is going on with you guys? Posidone. Any action you got there? Coffee or death? Nah. Just hanging out. Nothing to be jealous of. Echidna. How did the meeting go, Mama Lissa? Was it alright? Mad scientist. Don't remind me. Overhaul's research was both disgusting and hard to understand. Posidone. That bad? I mean, you guys are super smart. Mad scientist. Coda. Honey. You adorable boy. Mad scientist. I didn't sleep for 5 days straight. Neither did at Dr. Evil. That overbastard was the definition of a mess. It was almost the work of a madman. Posidone? Posidone, shish. They must have been a nightmare. The boss? The only reason they slept at the 6th day is because I put sleeping pills on their drinks. And I tried to help in my free time. Kai Chizaki is the definition of a messy, incoherent work. Purge the fakes, but at least now we shouldn't worry about All Might ending before his time. And ending everything with him. Coffee or death, that's what intrigues me. Dies everything end? Purge the fakes? Live riffle? Gentle criminal? Gentle hacker? The boss? Mad scientist? Posidone? Echidna? Titan? Coffee or death, think about it. The boss has declared Japan to be his. The elite foresaw his army and power. That he has multiple high-ranking villains backing him up. Coffee or death. So I doubt they would be idiot enough to piss the boss off by trying to attack randomly. They will still try, but they won't launch a full-scale war on the country in fear of boss pulling the symbol of evil on them. Boss left quite the impression with the witch. Posidone, badass. Echidna, agreed. Titan, at least less problems to worry about. Bloody Habanero joined the group chat under the default name Red. Red, is it bad timing to speak? The boss, Red? Didn't you have a mission today or was it cancelled? Red, well, we just finished. You can check it out if you wish. Coffee or death, wait a damn minute. Are you the ones who blew up the Detronat Lifestyle Factory? Shit, that's cool. Posidone, alright, now that's something. Echidna, so cool. Titan, really amazing. Red, thanks brats. Red, anyways, I may or may not have got lots of secret codes to multiple Detronat accounts. The boss? Live riffle. Purge the fakes. Coffee or death. Gentle criminal? Gentle hacker. Mad scientist. Red, and I may or may not have Wink only been able to grab half of them Wink for the QLF. The boss, you magnificent beach. Red, I know. Live riffle, so you are saying? Coffee or death. You are giving us one of Redestro's credit cards that you stole after you blew up his property? And that we get to spend from his pocket? Cool. That's basically adding salt to the wound. Purge the fakes. More like lemon juice with lots of peppers and seasoning. Posidone? LOL, that Pinocchio's gonna flip. Red, here are the codes. Red, XXXXXXX. Red, XXXXXXX. Red, XXXXXXX. Red, XXXXXXX. Red, XXXXXXX. The boss, I mean. I wouldn't say no to an initiative this brilliant. But I hope you do not endanger yourself. Red, don't worry. Just been promoted to a cell leader. They won't question me anymore. The boss? Live riffle. Purge the fakes. Coffee or death. Gentle criminal? Gentle hacker. Mad scientist. Posidone, wow, that's super cool. Echidna, wow, you are just 17. Titan, and already a leader of a cell? Red, I have a large body count from MLA and ISP and a bit of CRC. To the QLF I am standard soldier and a role model. Red, I don't hate the QLF. But I have a serious problem with how Mightless is running things here. I respect her notion, not her acts. The boss, understandable. Anything else to add? Red, well, after the festival we are clashing with the MLA. Redestro himself is present. Mightless is dying to kill that prick. Coffee or death, oh shit. The boss, sounds like a good chance to jump on the winner's throat. I appreciate your info. Good job. Red, see you later. Red, tell Bestie I said hi. Red is out. When Class 1A were told that they were going to be part of the tour of the children of the #1 villain because one of them wants to be a hero, they thought of it as a lame joke. Unfortunately, when their homeroom teacher left the class for an important and very urgent meeting and they had to stick to self-study session, they couldn't confirm it. So, Sensei is not the type to grow a joke put of the blue. You think he is serious? Zero asked around, gaining looks of uncertainty from everyone. Well, I doubt that a hero school would just take a bunch of kids that is relatives of the #1 villain. This the most prestigious one, so we shouldn't believe it. It could be a ruse, Ida said while looking his book. But you saw Sensei's face. Ribbit, he looked more done than usual. That alone said something. Plus, if the guy threatened the school, who could stop him? All Might? The top 10 heroes combined couldn't. Ribbit, Azui said with blank expression. Oh come on. You saw those kids, right? They are sweet. And very cute, Toru said encouragingly. You didn't see the one in the hat transform into a 3-meter-tall armored knight. He is scary more than you think. And the rest are probably as bad. Kaminari grumbled under his breath. Well, if that's true, then we should inspire them to try and be heroes. That would be manly. What do you think, Bakugo? Kirishima turned to the newly restored resident bomber, who flinched at the mention of his name. The blonde turned to the redhead with a scowl on his face. I don't give a shot about Deku's brats. As long as they don't try to kill me, they can study here for all I care. Bakugo grumbled as he looked at his book. Oh come on. Scared from the kids of your old victim? Finally realized that you idiot has created he worst villain in Japan? Finally realized that being a bigoted bully had consequences? Ishido asked with a glare. Bakugo turned to her with a sneer. Look, you Pinky Beach. I fed up and I admit it. But guess what? Bakugo narrowed his eyes at everyone. Everyone around me told me to do that. Taught me to do that. Encouraged me to bully that nerd. So if I am to blame for being an idiot, shouldn't you blame who taught me to be an idiot? Bakugo asked around. There was silence for a bit until Kirishima spoke up. Well, at least you acknowledged your faults. And how did you get your quirk back? Kirishima asked with a smile. Bakugo shivered for a second, then scoffed. He made my quirk more cost-efficient, less self-damaging and stronger. But he also added a kill switch on it. If I kill an innocent person, shit just hurt someone on purpose and my heart will explode like a water balloon. Bakugo scoffed and everyone winced at the image. Ouch, now that's pretty bad, Zero said with a wince. After the homeroom session they had their normal sessions with their teachers, then had lunch. And shit, the kids were actually there. I mean, holy F, they actually came. Bakugo looked the worst as he looked away and tried to pretend they didn't exist. And apparently the little unicorn one became best friends in like 1 minute with a third-year girl. And they were both super chatty. Unhealthy level super chatty. But after lunch ended they found themselves in heroics class, and when they got to the training grounds they found the kids waiting for them. With the one in a hat looking ready to murder something or someone at any second now. All Might was there as their teacher like usual. Ever since the USJ he started walking around in his civilian form instead of hero form to save his time, since everyone now knows about it. Well students, today's training session will be a bit different than usual. All Might started with sheepish look. We got very special guests for today, as you can see, after Nedzu was persuaded into giving them a tour in U.A to see what heroism is truly about, since they never got to see good examples about it. All Might explained with a frown. Ida raised his hand indicating he had a question. Sir, are they gonna be part of the exercise? And what are we doing for today's exercise? The speedster asked with his usual hand motions. Well, you all know that Nedzu is a sadist? All Might started awkwardly. Understatement of the millennium. It's like saying that karma is evils or that Redestro is an idiot, Jiru said with an eye roll. Yes, for today's exercise. You will be fighting those children. 6 for 2 and one of them 7 for 1. All Might looked at the kids with a sweat drop. Who wants more opponents? All Might asked. The 3 kids raised their hands and airy sweat dropped at that. Can you give the 7 to Katsuma-kun? He is the nicest of my siblings in a fight. Eri asked politely. Why do I feel that the principal has just signed us for a royalist kicking? Zero asked as he gulped. Kota gave a shit-eating grin at them, causing them to flinch. Because I am Dad's perfect masterpiece. My power is equal to Endeavor if not greater. If you don't want to get beaten up, better withdraw with dignity, Kota said while rolling his shoulder. Not that we would blame you, Mahoro said smugly. We are he children of Deku-sama, the absolute quirk lord. He gifts quirks and takes them on a whim. Nobody is as strong as him. The little girl shrugged. If Daddy is a god, then we are demigods. So our power isn't that questionable? There was a pause at that. Is there a cult on your dad's name or something? Mina asked carefully. There was a collective shrug at that by the kids. Yeah, pretty much. Every one of the league members worship my dad one way or another. But that's not our subject. Kota looked at All Might. Get me the strongest of them. I want to see if those guys are growing to be real heroes or fakes. Kota cracked his knuckles and All Might sighed. Well, the first pair. Kota Shigaraki vs Katsuki Bakugo, Hantashiro, Denki Kaminari, Ijiro Kirishima, Mizo Shoji and Rikito Sato. All Might announced. Kota smirked as everyone gave them space. So how strong is your brother? What is his quirk? Mina asked. Eri frowned. Big brother has multiple quirks. Most of them are water quirks and has a transformation-type quirk. Eri explained as she showed them her notebook. League of Villains Analysis. Family Edition, Siblings. Kota Shigaraki. Kota is my big brother. The first of Deku Shigaraki's adopted children and arguably the strongest of them from Papa's intel. Kota-kun has an original quirk called Water Gun. Allows him to shoot water from his hands at high speeds. Due to young age, his quirk wasn't very strong. Once adopted by Papa, his quirk was evolved into its maximum level, making him able to shoot the water on a pressured blast at a speed of 300 km/h. Big brother was given multiple quirks as well by Papa to complement his original quirk and make it more versatile. One Wave allows the user to secret a large amount of water quickly from their hands, but it can't be shot very quickly. Very good to fill tank with water or a swimming pool. When combined with Water Gun, it's very dangerous. 2 Hydrokinesis. The ability to control the already existing water and move it around as you desire. The quirk lets the person control enormous amounts of water. Only weakness of this quirk is that the user can't create water, only control it. When combined with Wave and Water Gun, it's extremely dangerous. 3 Sub-Zero. The user can decrease the heat of something they touch into sub-zero degree, but the object doesn't freeze, so water doesn't turn to ice, but it's extremely cold. The quirk was given to my brother to counter the high degrees of fire in case he went against someone like Endeavor. 4 Rehydration. Using quirks that secrets water from the body is extremely taxing, and could lead to dehydration in a very dangerous degree. This quirk allows the user to instantly rehydrate themselves from the oxygen and hydrogen in the air. 5 Super Regeneration. This quirk allows the user to heal seconds from burns and wounds. It also regenerates lost limbs and organs instantly as long as the wound wasn't instant killing. So heart and brain don't regenerate. 6 Endurance. It allows Big Brother to convert his morale into physical strength and stamina, while recharging his other quirks. So for as long as his will isn't broken, he is extremely hard to take down. It's also the original quirk Gigantomachia. 7 Pain Blocker. He is unable to feel pain regardless of the severity of the injuries. Which has a nice synergy effect with the first quirk. Big Brother is a very determined person and never backs down, and without pain he is extremely hard to lower his morale. 8 Battle Form. This quirk is basically my brother's Nomu form. Yes, my brother is half normal. Shocking but not really. Papa is a genius and he found a way to let his children carry power greater than adults by biological modifications. From what Kota-kun told me, the operation is painless and takes few days of sleep. Kota-kun's Nomu form is basically turning into 3-meter-tall armored knight. In that form he can easily take a punch from someone like Death Arms and not be affected. His armor is extremely resistant to high and low degrees as well as flames and ice. The info in the notebook left everyone both shocked and startled. These kids were half Nomus. How they look very normal. Alright, let's have some fun. Kota declared as he transformed into his knight form. The 6 students tensed in preparation for what was coming. The students decided to keep reading the notebook. All Might and Eraserhead were also interested in knowing what type of power those children possessed. League of Villains Analysis. Family Edition, Siblings. Katsuma Shigaraki. Katsuma-kun is my other big brother. The second of Deku Shigaraki's adopted children for third. He was adopted in the same time with my sister, and arguably the strongest of them in terms of physical strength from Papa's intel. Katsuma-kun has an original quirk called Cell Activation O, allows him to activate the cells of other people and heal injuries with his stamina along with increasing their physical performance for a period of time like shot of adrenaline. It can be used on himself to improve his own performance on the cost of his stamina. Due to young age his quirk wasn't very strong. Once adopted by Papa his quirk was evolved into its maximum level making him able to heal very dangerous injuries in few seconds as long as the person still has enough blood and tissue mass to let the wounds close, and he increased the performance of others 3 times and his own by 5. Big Brother was given multiple quirks as well by Papa to complement his original quirk and make it more versatile. 1. Endurance. It allows Big Brother to convert his morale into physical strength and stamina, while recharging his other quirks. So for as long as his will isn't broken, he is extremely hard to take down. It's also the original quirk Gigantomachia. 2. Pain Blocker. He is unable to feel pain regardless of the severity of the injuries. Which has a nice synergy effect with the first quirk. Big Brother is a very determined person and never backs down, and without pain he is extremely hard to lower its morale. 3. Muscle Enhancer. It is a mixed version between muscle augmentation and muscle compression due without gaining additional muscle mass the muscles get stronger many times. I saw my brother once lift a car with his bare hands. 4. Energy Saver. It allows Big Brother to operate on minimal amounts of sleep, food and water. Buying minimal, it's 2-3 hours of sleep a month, and a similar amount of food and water. 5. Reflex Booster. Allows Big Brother to react to things that happen at speeds too great for normal people to process, so reacting to a punch of someone as fast as All Might is impossible to normal people. Big Brother can react thanks to he quirks and it's passively active, so to surprise him you must be as fast as Thunderbolt. 6. Shock Nullification. Big Brother can nullify the shocks caused by blunt physical attacks. There isn't a limit to he attacks that can be nullified as long as it isn't strong to overwhelm the quirk in one time. So unless it's the United States of Smash from All Might in his golden age, Big Brother is impossible to beat. 7. Super Regeneration. This quirk allows the user to heal seconds from burns and wounds. It also regenerates lost limbs and organs instantly as long as the wound wasn't instant killing. So heart and brain don't regenerate. 8. Battle Form. This quirk is basically my brother's Nomu form. Yes, my brother is half normal. Shocking but not really. Papa is a genius and he found a way to let his children carry power greater than adults by biological modifications. From what Kotakuin told me, the operation is painless and takes few days of sleep and nothing more. Katsuma-kuin's Nomu form is basically turning into an adult version with black bodysuit and a dark cape along with a face gas mask. League of Villains Analysis. Family Edition, Siblings. Mahiro Shigaraki. Mahoro-chan is my other big sister. The second of Deku Shigaraki's adopted children. For third, she was adopted in the same time with my second brother because they are twins, and arguably the strongest of them in terms of battle variety from Papa's intel. Mahoro-chan's quirk was called Hologram. Mahoro-chan's quirk allowed her to create holograms of anything she wishes, even gigantic ones. These holograms couldn't interact with the physical world though. Once adopted by Papa, her quirk was evolved and had quirks fused into it to make the untouchable creations touchable and very much sentient. Big Sister was given multiple quirks as well by Papa to complement her original quirk and make it more versatile as well as combat quirks. 1. Light Manipulation. Allows the user to solidify light around THRM into solid forms and objects and make it touchable. With Hologram it is extremely valuable in making the holograms touchable. 2. Gas Manipulation. Allows the user to solidify gases, air included, into solid forms and make it touchable. With Hologram it is extremely valuable in making the holograms touchable. 3. Animation. Allows the user to pull life into things that isn't technically alive like draws or objects, but on the cost of the person's vitality. So overusing the quirk could lead to death. With Hologram and its other fused quirks it allows Big Sister to make her creations sentient and extremely obedient. For Supreme Vitality. This quirk gives my sister incredible vitality that could be compared to multiple extremely healthy men in the same time. It works fantastically with animation. 5. Super Regeneration. This quirk allows the user to heal seconds from burns and wounds. It also regenerates lost limbs and organs instantly as long as the wound wasn't instant killing. So heart and brain don't regenerate. 6. Endurance. It allows Big Sister to convert her morale into physical strength and stamina, while recharging her other quirks. So for as long as her will isn't broken, she is extremely hard to take down. It's also the original quirk of Gigantomachia. 7. Pain Blocker. Big Sister is unable to feel pain, regardless of the severity of the injuries. Which has a nice synergy effect with the previous quirk. Big Sister is a very determined person and never backs down, and without pain she is extremely hard to lower her morale. 8. Battle Form. This quirk is basically my sister's Nomu form. Yes, my sister is half Nomu. Shocking but not really. Papa is a genius and he found a way to let his children carry power greater than adults by biological modifications. From what Koda-kun told me, the operation is painless and takes few days of sleep. Mahoro-chan's Nomu form is basically turning into an older and more beautiful version of herself, dressed in a skin-tight dark suit battle armor on top. Eraserhead and All Might gaped at the little girl's notebook, unable to believe the information in it. Those kids were monsters. Hey, can I get more opponents? Koda called out, snapping the two teachers from their trance. The boy won his match in 3 minutes, which with his quirks shouldn't be surprising. He was basically a weapon designed with the intention of defeating Endeavor. Sorry kid. Your match is over. Time for you siblings? Eraserhead sighed. The water user pouted but left the large ring begrudgingly as he walked to his siblings and gave them a thumbs up. The kids started talking while the new participants took their place. Hopefully those kids decide to be heroes. For all their sakes. So, how was your day, kids? Did you have fun? Deku asked with a smile as the kids were sitting across from his desk with big smiles on their faces. Not really, but I enjoyed beating the students up a lot. Koda admitted with shrug as he grinned widely. It felt nice seeing people scared of us and respecting us. As they should. Mahoro boasted proudly. It was good day. Thank you, father. Katsuma bowed slightly. Eri jumped in her seat. Thank you so much, Papa. Recovery girl wants to take me as her apprentice. Can I? Please. Pretty please? I will still study hard. Eri said with her innocent puppy eyes, and Deku smiled as he patted her head. I already spoke to Nedza-san about it, dear. Both your apprenticeship and payment. You can start 3 days a week after the festival, and if you were needed you would be called. Deku explained Eri. Thank you, Papa, I will make you proud, love you so much. Eri said, excited as she kept kissing her blushing dad. That got the other kids to start laughing and joking the hug. Life was good for Deku Shigaraki. Then his phone vibrated. Red, Mightless is fighting Aridestro man. We need reinforcements. Deku groaned from the ruined moment. Mondays. So, how was your day, kids? Did you have fun? I hope you had a good day. And you? Deku asked with a smile as the kids were sitting across from his desk with big smiles on their faces. The villain emperor was doing some important paperwork when the kids come back, so he called them to hear how it went. He loved his children so much. Each of them got some parts of his personality, much to his embarrassment. The League would often ask teasingly if they were actually his biological kids somehow, and he was hiding it. Heck, Mustard was entertaining them with a whole conspiracy theory about him being a grown man with them as his kids and a skilled veteran supervillain that was rewound back to a teen by Eri and forgot who he was. It was probably the most bullshit of his theories so far, but it did earn a good laugh from everyone. It's also funny how each of the kids are almost his children and have vastly different personalities, yet all go back to him somehow in their attitude. He did see it, the League did see it, his parents did see it too, and his mom was secretly suspicious of him, which was more funny than anything. He couldn't blame her though. It's like those 4 adorable kids somehow got his personality split among them equally, with each of them getting one of his traits. Koda-kun had his pent-up rage, hate, bitterness and resentment, as well as his violent nature. It can't be argued that he had a lot of those. Look at what he did to those morons of the HPSC who kidnapped his mom. He killed over few dozen thousand people in bloody revenge. Both of them also have protective instincts to their family members. All the League members are almost adopted to the family by now, and the 2 of them are ready to do whatever it takes to keep everyone they cared for safe, even if it meant spilling blood. Plus, Koda-kun seems to have inherited Deku's hatred and disgust to fake heroes and those who abuse their fame to do whatever they wanted and get away with it. And he wanted to put them down to not hurt innocent people. Both he and Stain were proud. But they might have to tone it down a little bit. He was 6 and had a 30-people body count for F's sake. Then there is Eri-chan. She has the innocence of his younger, more naive self, as well as desire to help others without the need for a reward, just because it was the right thing to do and nothing more. That made him very proud of her, and he will do everything in his power to make her dreams come true because she deserves to be happy. He already got her a seat in the U.Hero course so she could become a recovery heroine. And he knows that she would do so many magnificent and wonderful things with her quirk. And with the longevity quirk that he secretly gave her and her siblings, she will live long and save millions of people in her long life. He also gave her the mixed copy of Pegasus Wings and Fierce Wings, and he will train her thoroughly so she could protect herself if needed. He was a paranoid father who worried that she might get hurt, plus he is more than sure that if his daughter got killed in the line of duty he would sink Japan to Kingdom Come in bloody revenge, and he loved his child and wanted her to be safe. She also has his love of quirks and likes to write in notebooks about everything, mostly quirks that she finds intriguing, and gather information about it for later so it would come in handy later. She inherited his unsatisfiable love and thirst for information. She is basically a cuter young version him, and even his mom agreed. Plus she doesn't like people being hurt like he doesn't like his family getting hurt. He always made sure to make his plans as safe as possible for them to not get hurt. His daughter seems to have the same instincts, scolding people and telling them to be more careful out of love and compassion. Mahoro-chan has his theatrical attitude as well as absolute love for dramatics, much to his and his dad's surprise and secret joy and everyone else's amusement. She idolized him and what he stood for as a villain, and wanted to be a villainess with similar morals and aesthetics in the future. And of the 4 kids she wants to be the most like him because Kota admires him but has a worldview similar to Stain. It's alright to seek money and glory but only by doing your job well, not hurt others sort of thing, and even puppy-eyed his dad to his eternal amusements to tutor her in the art of villain leadership. Also, while it hasn't been shown much to other, he could see that she is the most creative and least predictable of everyone else, and when making plans it is going to be a vital skill for the future. She was shockingly a lot like him in that regard, which made him question if living parasites somehow not only transplanted the quirks but also certain skills and personality traits into them by mistake. He will have to ask Doctor later. Finally, you have Katsuma-kun, his second adopted son and the most calm and collected of them all. He takes in the more muted traits of his personality, but that isn't a bad thing actually. In fact, it was a good thing because his siblings were too hyperactive, so he was the one to rein them in when needed. He has the respectful nature of his old self as well as still the current one to those who deserve respect, which was very good because Kota-kun and Mahoro-chan seem to be slightly in that regard, unfortunately. Also, he is the one besides Eri-chan who mediates when there is fighting, just like his does with Tamura-kun. He keeps things from getting out of hand when there is arguments and sometimes fighting between not only the kids but everyone in the league, and Deku was eternally grateful for his boy for decreasing the headaches he has to deal with every day. Of the 4 kids of his that he loves so much, Katsuma-kun is the most logical and sane one as well as the straight man among them all, and someone Deku could see to be both a great hero if he chose or an amazing villain more like an anti-hero in the future. Not really, but I enjoyed beating the students up a lot. Was a nice fight. Well, somewhat. Kota admitted with shrug as he grinned widely. He really enjoyed the fight, mostly beating the explosive bag of shit called Katsuki Bakugo his moms told him about. He looked like an idiot and Kota enjoyed every second of the one-sided beat down. Unfortunately, he wasn't allowed to kill or maim or even brutalize that idiot, so he stuck up to good old-fashioned ass-kicking, which was really neat. Kota hated fake heroes as much as selfish villains. He understands that there are 2 types of heroes and villains. For the heroes you have those with heroic aspiration and morals, good people who genuinely wish to help people just because they can. That type Kota both liked and respected. His biological parents were like that, All Might begrudgingly is like that, as well as all rescue heroes and most underground heroes. Those were heroes that Kota would love to see roaming the streets and saving people. Then you have those people who want to be heroes for just the money and glory, and even that has 2 kinds. The first kind is those who yes care about their payment and popularity but still do their job perfectly and save lives without complaining, and even though their motives are selfish they had their morals and aesthetics straight. Those Kota would tolerate. Then we have the idiots like Endeavor, Slammer Bang, Golden State, Steel Stripes and many others. Fakes who only care for themselves and do as they wish, get others hurt without a care in the world. Those fakes like Uncle Stain and Dad says must be purged. And he would be happy to brutalize those who hurt the innocent people just because they can. Those are the heroes. Now we have the villains. Why be a villain? Well, there's 2 reasons. First, you are an idiot like Muscular and Moonfish. You became a villain to hurt others and kill and destroy just because it was fun. Those were a kill on sight for Kota, and he did kill 21 of those idiots just because he encountered them. They were as much of a problem to society like the fake pros. They must be weeded out. Then we have the second type, those who became villains for circumstances or goals. Circumstances like his dad, Antai Kana, most of his moms and uncles. They were bullied, shunned, hurt by society in general or discriminated against. It infuriated Kota to no end honestly. They were pushed to what they are now not because they wanted it. Then you have those who chose to villains for their goals and beliefs. Uncle Stain became a villain because the law was incapable or sometimes unwilling to punish those fakes, So he took the matter to his own hands after he realized that society was too messed up to change with peaceful ways. Violence was his only option. Then we have those with goals even if personal. Like his Uncle Compress and Uncle Mustache. They both wanted to be famous, but since heroism wasn't an option, they both went to villainy but stuck to morals and aesthetics and bloodless thievery and showmanship, which was cool if Koda had a say in the matter. Koda wants to make the world a better place, where good heroes only exist and horrible villains who doesn't deserve to breath are almost non-existent. That's his goal, and he will not let anything stop him from achieving it. Literally nothing short of death or incarceration, and the latter is until he inevitable escapes. He wasn't one to be kept down after all. It felt nice seeing people scared of us and respecting us. As they should. Mahoro boasted proudly with a smug smile on her face as she giggled to herself cheerfully. She loved the power and fame it came from being a villainess honestly. It felt so good. In the past she always felt weak, unimportant because of her weak quirk. People praised her twin for his amazing quirk. They said it would save so many people and that if he trained it he could even be a great hero in the future if he put his mind to it. She was happy and proud of her baby brother, she few minutes older but still, and very much supportive of him, and he was just the sweetest little brother any girl could ask for, and she loved him so much. That much would never change. But she couldn't help the small bit of jealousy that would come into her every time her brother was praised for his power recovery/enhancement quirk. It was something she was ashamed of, but she couldn't help the bitterness honestly. She wanted to be praised, she wanted to be famous and known. And the best way for that was being a heroine, but could she? Her quirk was at best illusions. Nothing too fancy. She didn't see anything cool about it. She could control it well, yes, but it couldn't do anything. She was powerless. So her desires were impossible. Or so she thought. She saw that video that went viral of the green rabbit, which was super cool. How someone quirkless she didn't know they did exist before the video, who had 0 powers instead of a weak one beat a powerful hero. She searched and turns out Death Arms was someone like a truck in human body. He could lift incredibly heavy things and hit ridiculously hard, and the Green Rabbit won their fight with amazing move and speed and acrobatics that stole her breath literally in the part where Death Arms was hit with that taser thing, and it was just amazing. Green Rabbit was right then and there her new source of inspiration to what a person should be like if they wished for fame and glory in life. The skill, the power, the showmanship and flashiness. That's what she wanted. The rabbit was strong and ridiculously so. He was intelligent beyond comprehension and very tricky. He was one of the coolest, if not the coolest person she ever seen in her life honestly. She started learning acrobatics to become a heroine with her skill only. Support gear was a thing, right? And technically her quirk would be thing the rabbits would kill to half. It was so flashy and cool if she used correctly for her shows. Then the QLF came. Those bastards. Her supportive papa who supported her dream even though a lot of people told it wasn't possible sent and her brother in a small boat with some food and other things to the main body of Japan to survive the QLF. Mightless was officially her worst enemy and someone she wanted dead no matter the price. After they reached the country they roamed the streets for a couple days. She and her brother depended on his cell activation and her holograms in a combination to steal food for survival. Then he found them. Her new daddy. He was such a nice person and she didn't know if it was a stroke of luck, fate or just a huge coincidence, but her idol literally adopted her. And apparently he became a criminal mastermind now and was expanding in his fame and power. She wishes to become a villain mastermind like him in the future and lead her own villain organization in the future, just like her daddy. Because she wanted to become a fearsome and powerful villainess that would be spoken about in history books for generations to come. Just like Uncle Compress and Uncle Mustache. They were as much of theatrics as her daddy and she enjoyed learning stuff from them like monologuing and misdirection and all other showmanship skills. Her dream is to become the most famous villainess and her daddy promised to help her. And she knew he will just like her old daddy because she loved them both and they are the best ever. May her old daddy rest in peace and see her from paradise achieve her dream like she promised him. Hopefully he would be proud of her. It was a very good day honestly. Thank you, Father. We appreciate your love and kindness eternally. Katsuma bowed slightly with a smile. He did actually enjoy the tour in the best hero school in Japan, arguably the world, and who knows? He might decide to become a hero in the future. Even if he didn't, he will still help anyone in need he encounters. After all, he still remembers Uncle Stain telling him how his dad put down a building that was on fire he passed by on one of his crusades and carried out the civilians. His dad might be a villain. But even evil has standards and morals, and his dad believes in helping those in need without the need for a license. And so does he. Being a hero isn't having a costume and a license. It's a concept and most people forget that these days. Being a hero isn't the same as being a pro. Those are two different things, but the corrupt commission made them the same to further their own power. Katsuma didn't like that. He wasn't fully sure what he wanted for the future. He still liked heroes. Well, most of them, he would honestly, even though he has yet to kill someone like Koda, he would happily punch people like Endeavor, Thunderbolt and Captain Celebrity to the stratosphere if he given the chance. Because they were the farthest from the concept of heroism. This concept needs to be restored. Was that what he wanted? Does he want to restore what being a hero is truly about? That sounded like an amazing goal. That's what his dad and Uncle Stain wants, but they are trying to get rid of the fakes first. Maybe when they're done he would start trying to bring back that meaning? Seeing who has the heart of a hero but wasn't given the chance and help them? That idea sounded very amazing to him. Yes. That's what he will do in the future. Help those who couldn't be heroes alone. There are a lot of people like that and he will help them. Sure, he is more than willing to join his brother and uncles in their crusades every once in a while if the person in question was a jerk, but other than that he would help others be good heroes and vigilantes. It would amazing. Eri jumped in her seat up and down happily with her eyes sparkling. Thank you so much, Papa. I enjoyed today so much. I met Recovery Girl and she wants to take me as her apprentice. Can I? Please. Pretty please? I will still study hard. Eri said with her innocent puppy eyes, and Deku smiled as he patted her head. I already spoke to Nedza-san about it, dear. Both your apprenticeship and payment. You can start 3 days a week after the festival, and if you were needed you would be called. Deku explained Eri. Thank you so Papa, I will make you super duper upper proud, love you so much. Eri said excited as she kept kissing her blushing dad, who smiled lovingly and hugged his daughter back. You already do, sweetie. I am proud of all of you. Deku said, a bright smile as he hugged the little unicorn. That got the other kids to start laughing in joy, and they decided to join the family hug as they jumped over the desk and hugged their father with big smiles. Deku Shigaraki loved his life and kids more than anything in this world, and nothing could change that. It was moments like this that made the father job all worth it. Nothing could possibly ruin this moment for him. Then his phone vibrated. With a sigh of exasperation, Deku grabbed his phone begrudgingly to read the text. He wishes he hadn't. Read. Mightless is fighting Aridestro man. We need reinforcements. Deku groaned from the ruined moment. Wow, of all times now this happens. Wait, what day was it? Looking at his phone, his eye started twitching uncontrollably. Mondays. Deku let out a long, tired and mournful sigh of utter exhaustion and annoyance as he looked at the kids apologetically. It seems that Red needs help. The MLA and QLF are clashing and she is requesting backup for the battle. Deku said apologetically, gaining surprised looks from everyone. Really? Thought Untai Rika said until at least 2 weeks from now? Katsuma said confused. Probably a change in plans. Not that uncommon because sneak attacks are one of the best tactics for a plan. Mahoro admitted with a frown. So, do we get to fight? Koda asked excited, and Deku shook his head. No, you are to remain here. I am taking the heavy hitters of the league and go into war. I am helping Mightless and hopefully having a long chat with that woman. Deku said as he stood up and put his whining in protest. Not that he blamed them. He will skin Yatsubashi alive for interrupting cuddle time children down, and walk to the meeting room, sending a message to the league's heavy hitters to prepare for the battle. Mightless prepared herself for the incoming battle. She was a middle-aged woman with long dark hair, a small button nose, pale skin and ocean blue eyes. She had a dark skin-tight bodysuit on her person, and on top of it samurai-style body armor and helmet. With 2 katanas on her back and 2 guns strapped to her sides. Along with multiple grenades and ammo. She was a woman on a mission. Her mission. The death of one Rikiya Yatsubashi. The leader of the Meta Liberation Army and the bane of every quirkless person's existence. The dark-haired woman looked at her forces through the video call and smiled in satisfaction. She had a bit above 900 soldiers and 23 tanks, plus 2 self-propelled missile launchers armed with the missiles ready to destroy, all on standby in the base. High morale. Her people from that particular cell were really heated up and excited by the string of victories, especially Akane Rika's squad. That girl was really something else with her chain of victories, for their many victories over MLA soldiers and even ISP and some CRC. They were all idiots, so why not clean them up too while at it, since they were all the QLF's enemies? The idea of attacking Redestro head-on was met with excitement from everyone, but her newly appointed cell leader shared some of her concerns about provoking Karma-kun, and while the redhead proved her intelligence with that concern, Mightless just knew that Karma would side with her. He must have some compassion to quirkless people as a late bloomer, right? He must have had to tolerate the same treatment. After all, she was keeping up with the quirkless treatment in Japan, so he must be on their side in some ways. But Kai also said that it was a bad idea and that should wait for another day. Because apparently Karma has some unexplainable hatred for Mondays, which was randomly strange. Does he hate Mondays as a concept, or are they his unlucky days, in general? She refused to back down though. Her second-in-command and top scientist was smart because, well, top scientist duh. But he was too careful for her taste. She used her quirk to summon a laser disc, blue with red circles and yellow lines, seems like a kid drew them, which they were, and used it to open a warp gate to Muzutafu's coordinates, right next to the local Detronat Lifestyle Factory's only remaining good job new cell leader. Branch in Muzutafu. She stepped through it since she can only teleport herself or others to her through the discs, extremely useful in battle. Like always, she makes herself float atop one of her discs. Nothing is more attention-grabbing than floating menacingly above the crowd you are about to slaughter. Like usual, a bunch of civilians minding their own business are immediately going into a total mass panic once they see her. And several local heroes tries to intercept her. They are near the building, so they work for Redestro. They attack her immediately, hoping to delay and give the civilians time to flee, but those pathetic bunch aren't really worth her time and not actually that powerful. Honestly, she fought 3 top-ranked heroes and would have won if it weren't for that idiot Eraserhead. She could deal with all of them at once. In a matter of seconds. Hold it right there, dash, a hero in a red suit with lightning bolts on it? Screams at her, but she cuts him off all immediately. Her discs are extremely fast and she sent one at the size of a computer disc on the man's neck to behead him. Her discs could cut through anything, while almost extremely durable things like Crust Shield and All Might are uncuttable. She tried 10 years ago and she can still fell that Texas smash on her back with ease. The others are startled, but she didn't care. With quick flicks of her eyes, the 5 discs she summoned moved on the supposed do-gooders, beheading them instantly. She hoped she had drones and hackers. Killing Redestro on live TV would have been glorious. There was more screaming at the death of the Cape Crusaders and, well, her in general being there. She was a fearsome SS-ranked villain in the 2nd rank. Fu Redestro. She is much better than you. On the villain rankings right beneath Deku Shigaraki aka Karma, the self-proclaimed emperor, and he had the power to back up his claims. The top 10 literally were a playdate to the Kidba villains who she idolized. People recognized her instantly, so in the few seconds she took to kill the bunch of Cape Crusaders, they started running in fear of just her alone. And that's without counting the army that would join her in a minute. Which reminded her. The leader of the QLF, Mikoto Shinimaru aka Mightless, SSS-ranked villain and 2nd place in the villain rankings, Fu Redestro. She is definitely much better than you. Summons 13 coin-sized laser discs and sends near the ground where they enlarged into the size of large gates. She stands there menacingly on a floating surface while her army is coming through, and summons 7 more. Her limit is 20, but she has no problems overseeing all of them at once. She is like Hawks with his feathers but with far less objects. Capable of sending and controlling them, she can even use them as some form of sensory devices to know what's going on somewhere, like a camera of the sorts. She looked with a smile at the laser disc gates. Gates where many soldiers and tanks along with the missiles launchers came through. The war gates that were her laser discs along with the soldiers. She was in front of the only Detronat Lifestyle Factory branch in Mustafu, and she was going to destroy it no matter the cost. A lucky fairy and informant told her that Redestro himself is visiting this one after the destruction of the previous one. Akane Rika earned her promotion. A small squad, and they had a crushing success. He was also probably livid about the newly appointed cell leader stealing bank account codes. She almost adopted the red-headed girl right then and there on the video report from Joy, but Kai is bad with kids and teens apparently, and they emptied it instantly, and she will take great pleasure in funding her army with the bigoted arrogant idiot's money. It's really the biggest FU she could think of, honestly. Redestro or also Rikia Yatsubashi is practically livid right now obviously, and she will enjoy seeing that long-nosed bigoted arrogant idiot die in front of her, defeated and broken. On the hands of people he saw as beneath him and shouldn't exist. For all the quirkless people. And Nawaki. As she was standing, well, floating on her laser disc, in front of the main building, she adjusted her mask and turned on her mic. Then she began her speech while her soldiers took formations behind her. With the red-haired prodigy in the front holding an assault machine gun ready to shoot anyone at sight. She was taught well. Good evening, Detronat Lifestyle Company. We are the Quirkless Liberation Front, and we invited ourselves into this branch of bigotry to say hi to its leader, who decided to honor one of his places with a personal visit. And since he is rarely put of Daika City, I just had to come say hello. So let's start this show. Mightless declared with wide, dark, malicious, bloodthirsty, Cheshire and malevolent grin on her face. She shot 3 of her laser discs at high speeds at the building that supported the bigoted arrogant idiots. The discs exploded on impact and she reveled in the screams of shock and horror. Did she forget to mention her discs explode? They were extremely useful that way for the amount of destruction each disc caused. There was few seconds of silence until from the top floor of the building something crashed through the windows and slammed into the ground, shattering it on impact. And also kicking up a cloud of dust on the spot the person was on. Standing right there, bound in dark muscle, stood the CEO of the Detroit lifestyle company with a scowl on his face. He was larger than before. And far more muscular. His height would give All Might a pause and his form is that of a monster. Mightless floated forward and grinned as the Pinocchio's men started coming out of the building ready for war. It wasn't a company branch. It was an MLA cell filled with support gear and ran by trained soldiers ready to obey their dumbass leader. Redestro. Finally showed up, you coward. It's time for you to disappear along with your pathetic army. You have been a pain in the QLF's neck for a long time and it's time to perish. And without mentioning that you have been the bane of my existence for 10 years now. Mightless declared with a smirk. You mean ever since your bastard child was shot by someone from my army because you were quirkless, you pathetic woman? Redestro mocked as he ripped off his tie. Mikoto froze for a second, that flashbacks coming to her. Mikoto was a normal woman with a normal job in life. Well, as normal as a quirkless orphan teen's life could be anyways. She never finished her education after high school because she lived alone and had no one to pay her loans. Her parents died when she was young in a villain attack and she had no one else to look after her. She lived in an orphanage until she was of age and she was kicked out. She got a deal with an old lady who owned a motel. Mikoto gets a small room to live in and she works there. The job wasn't fun, but at least she got a roof and enough money to live without resorting to gross and nasty sources of money. She works now in a local bank as an accountant. She did online schooling for that, thankfully. And thank God she had a knack for management courses. She was decent at her job, she guessed. Her coworkers were jerks to her all the time and she knew that was because she was quirkless, but she didn't care. She was better at her work than most, if not all of them, and that's what mattered to her. But of course she was still getting stressed from the work and treatment and needed to relieve her stress. She also had the bad habit of going to bars and drink her problems away, which usually worked, but well, that could get you to do things you shouldn't. And that's how she found herself that she is having a baby and she had no idea from who. She was blurry in the memories. All she remembered was that he was someone in his 20s. Great. How the hell should she manage? Well, apparently she did. Being that made her coworkers turn from active idiots to silent, decent, if slightly mean coworkers. She could work with that. The morning sickness and cravings weren't nice, but she still managed. She was a strong woman and her was that of steel. After 9 excruciating months she gave birth in the hospital. Alone. She was encouraged only by the nurses and doctors. A nice redhead who started recently called something Kirishima. Her son was adorable. Pale skin like hers. Short dark hair. Small rosy cheeks. And the cutest little smile ever. She named him Nawaki. And she wished to see him grow into a young respectable man. Mikoto decided that she found her purpose in life instead of just surviving. To raise this little boy and see him stand on his own 2 feet. The next 5 years for the now 25-year-old woman were the happiest in her life. Her little boy was the definition of an angel and she loved him so much. She got a promotion at work and she used the money to take care of her baby. She worked her hardest at day in the bank and her hardest at night taking care of Nawaki. Was it exhausting? Yes. Was it worth the effort? Definitely yes. Her son deserved all the care and love in the world. Even though he was quirkless like her and he had no father, Nawaki was still a very happy kid. He was even able to still befriend other kids and be happy, which was astonishing. He wanted to be a hero. Even without a quirk, it was a dangerous job, but she as his mother still supported him. Her baby boy can do anything if he put his mind to it. Her son was watching the TV. Dressed in his favorite All Might onesie and bouncing in place while watching an interview of the man. Seriously, her son needed help with his obsession, but then again, wasn't all caused obsessed with the blonde #1 hero? She admits that he was good looking and nice all around. Actually nice and liked his job and was extremely generous, but he was still a man, not a god. All Might is the coolest ever. Nawaki cheered when All Might have the anyone can be a hero line. He was just adorable. It was then that there was banging on the door. Very hard and loud banging, like it was gonna break down. The dark-haired mother ran at her son and pulled him close fearfully just as some men burst in. A bunch of thugs with masks. Why are they here? What do they want? She had nothing valuable in this house. Just some clothes, very pathetically small amount of money and All Might merch. You have the account codes for many of the bank customers, right? One of the guys yelled at her while pointing his gun. She paled in fear. Of course, why are they here? That would let them easily take all the money, better than actual robbery. But who told them about her? Mama, I am scared. Nawaki whimpered and she hugged him closer. It's okay, my little hero. Mama will protect you, Mikoto said with a forced fearful smile, trying to reassure herself as much as reassure her son. Was she ratted out by someone? But who? She had no enemies. She was a nice woman and cared for everyone. She was loved by her neighbors and she was respectful to everyone. She fearfully did everything they asked. Better be fired than dead. She kept clutching her son to her chest protectively. Her little boy. Her everything. Well, you got it now. Please leave my house, Mikoto said, still hugging her baby to her chest. She didn't care what happened to her, she was a mother worried for her child. One of the men narrowed his eyes. You two are quirkless, right? He asked with a scowl. She could feel her pale face turn white. No, please no. What? Was being quirkless a serious crime? Yes. My mama is very good quirkless accountant and I will be a hero, Nawaki said, looking from his mother's arms. Oh really? The man said darkly as he pointed his gun at them menacingly. The dark-haired mother felt her life rush past her as she extended her hand defensively. No! Mikoto screamed. From her palm a computer disk-sized glaring disk shot out, beheading the menacing leader instantly. The woman stared at her palm in shock. Was this her quirk? Wasn't she quirkless? She heard of late bloomers, but she was 25. Why now would she? Bang. Her world stopped when she felt herself being shot in the stomach. She fell to the ground, she felt her son yelling at her to not leave. But she passed. When she woke up in the hospital she was told that the thugs killed her son. They killed him. Why? 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 Was quirklessness a serious crime? Why? Her little angel deserved none of that. And she had to identify him. He looked, well, dead. He was lifeless. He will never call her mama again. He will never say he loves her again. She was robbed from him. Because they were quirkless. The mother fell to her knees as she cried next to her dead child's face. I'm so sorry, dear. I couldn't protect you. The dark-haired woman felt a rush of pure, unadulterated rage rush through her as her eyes turned bloodshot. Her teeth grinded to get her that they almost cracked. A low menacing growl coming through her throat. They worked for you. 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 Multiple car-sized laser discs appeared the enraged woman, who was breathing heavily like a body possessed by a demon. Her eyes zooming on the ginger-haired bastard who was surrounded by his men. But she only saw him. Him in red. Red all over the place. With a primal roar, the dark-haired woman launched all her discs in the same time to rip them to shreds. Of course, Redestro broke the pavement and threw pieces at her discs. She warped most of them through two and teleported the discs above the Pinocchio and his men. Then she blew her discs to hell. And the bastards along with it. The screams of agony was music to her ears. The black Pinocchio charged at her, and as his fist came closer to her she used one of her discs as a shield. Oh, that idiot made it personal now. Overhaul is an idiot. Mightless needs some relief. Mightless walked into the laboratory of her top scientist. She ever really checked on him at the clock, but she needed to ask how the bullets were going. As she entered she greeted him as she grabbed a piece of paper to read. Hey, what are you doing? She looked through the written papers and she blinked few times. He flipped it upside down, then tried to read it sideways. Then she squinted at it while pulling it closer to her eyes. Then she turned to the scientist. Kai, what is this? The woman asked, baffled. Overhaul just shrugged as he was mixing chemicals. My notes, obviously. Mightless squinted at the complete mess in the paper. It's... How can you even read this? Overhaul looked at her carefree. Because I wrote it. What do you think? Mightless looked at him worried. Do you write everything like this? Do I need to get you a computer to type things? Because this is a disaster. Overhaul wrote something down on a piece of paper and handed it to her. She looked at the sheet and noticed that it can be read very easily. No, I do this on purpose, Overhaul said with a shrug. Mightless blinked before gaping. Why would you make your notes purposely look like you're a madman? I don't get it. Overhaul just grinned at her widely. To make people think I'm a rambling lunatic instead of a super genius geneticist. And as a one big F you to whoever dates steal my notes. Mightless slowly started to back out of the room with a weary expression, and the scientist chuckled very sinisterly with amusement. Overhaul looked at her like a cat that found a small canary. See, it's working. You're starting to think I'm a lunatic. Genius, don't you think? He said with a smirk. Mightless stopped moving and her eyes widened. Shit, he's right. What kind of lunatic thinks he's not a lunatic while also actively trying to make people think he's a lunatic? It makes no goddamn sense. Wait, is he a lunatic? If I can't tell. No, I don't think you're a lunatic at all, Mightless said with smile. Later. Cell's leader chat. Hi leader. I'm somehow a genius lunatic who is both deranged and sane at the same time. I know it doesn't sense, but that's the truth. Red newbie, I believe you. Most brilliant people are psychotics. I mean, look at Karma. Hi leader. I know, right? Hi leader. Anyways, I need some stress relief, and since my usual outlet is the person who got me stressed, we're attacking the MLA now. Hi leader. Time to F up that damn Pinocchio. Red newbie, but it's Monday. Hi leader. My new idol attacked twice on Mondays. That's even more reason to do it now. Did you see the success? Mondays are blessed by Karma himself. So we are doing it now, newbie. Rika stared at her phone for a bit before slapping her forehead at the dumb yet sane argument. Shit, she's right. Hope the boss isn't too mad about the short notice. Somewhere else, Garaki Kudai and Melissa's shield felt like strangling Overhaul even more now for some reason. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through What If Deku Became the Villain Emperor. I hope you found it as intriguing and thought-provoking as we did. A big shout out to DekuVerse for crafting such a compelling story. Don't forget to check out their profile on Archive of Our Own for more amazing works. The link is in the description below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to What If Deku 2.0 for more fascinating explorations into the world of fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we're always excited to hear your thoughts and suggestions in the comments section. See you guys in the next video.